Okay, hello everyone. Taking a look at an update on Monday, January 19 of the Alberta independence petition. We're actually going to start with this video from a large American creator. This has been getting attention, I've seen, even in the USA. This is Benny Johnson, 6 million subscribers. I actually don't even watch this guy's videos very much at all, but he is huge, very successful. So I think it's a credit to the movement that they're getting talked about on shows like this. Let's take a look. I think there's some kind of little thing we'll skip over. It looks like from Guardians of the Galaxy or something.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Just days into President Trump's second term, he started posting memes of the United States conquering Canada, very much setting.
See, I think this is why I don't watch this guy's show that much. No offense. What's with the music in the background? What are you doing? I do not like that. It's TikTok brain.
The tone for what Trump's entire second term would be as he re-exerts American empire and dominance, and this superpower starts behaving like a superpower that's in control of its hemisphere. You can see here President Trump with this beautiful map of what the United States of America should look like. You just tack on Greenland right here. That creates one of the most powerful countries on earth, United States. Here's another one from President Trump. Who can forget President Trump posting this photo of him staring off into Canada, even though this is the Swiss Matterhorn. It doesn't matter. We'll take Switzerland too.
Hello, Emraz. What's up?
Europe's our bitch anyway. Like, we pretty much own Europe anyhow.
Yeah, I'm glad the music stopped in this video.
So yeah, I miss these memes. I miss memes like this. Manifest Destiny, Donald Trump as the warlord of Canada. Why wouldn't you want to be in control of Canada? And who can forget what President Trump said to Justin Trudeau?
That new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy. Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become its governor. Right?
More on that detail.
Brett Baer, you absolute Cheshire cat. You loved that idea. I miss it. I miss these jokes. Not actually a joke, right? Trump suggests Canada could become 51st state. Trudeau said tariffs would kill his economy. You can, remember this super awkward photo of Justin Trudeau at Mar-a-Lago. How time flies. Now Trudeau is disgraced and is, I think, trapped on a boat with Katy Perry somewhere. Like, I think that he's being held hostage. Justin Trudeau, a very weak, sad man, and Trump humiliates Trudeau.
Yep. Nothing. I have no positive comment for Trudeau.
Mar-a-Lago. This is a ban.
Elevate laughing about Ford rant, about the rant about like the one on the weekend, or was there a new one? But the rant how this is bad for the auto industry, stuff like that. That's going to tick off Trump.
Man,
I'll check that out probably.
Time flies. How exciting.
Yeah, I'm going to skip forward a little bit here.
Yeah,
here we go.
Petition was brought forward by Alberta, is famously, conservative and right wing. It's awesome. That's where all the rodeos are, right? It's like where you have like Canadian cowboys. And the event were held and organized by the Stay Free Alberta campaign. Attendees would hear more about the campaign and referendum on independence and sign a petition for such a referendum. The common theme among people who showed up at the event was a desire for change. I don't think that we're here in Alberta. They're here in the East. We want to see some change. The petition was brought forward by the CEO of Alberta Prosperity Project, who spoke to attendees for approval and December signatures. Stay Free Alberta has nearly 4 months to collect 178,000 signatures, and it's not that many, actually. They need like 1 million signatures in California to put initiatives on the ballot, so that's really not that much. The motivation was rooted in...
Yeah, that was recently changed. It used to be, I think, 600,000. And then I don't know when the bill was, 6 months ago, maybe. That number went way down.
In concern of the future, I want to see a change for my kids. I don't want them to carry the debt. It's going to happen with what we have right now. I want to see my kids that I stood for believe in something.
And the Liberals wanting to fight. Is he live right now, or is that a YouTube video?
saying that Albertans should choose independence and the ability to govern ourselves without federal overreach. This is awesome. You can just do things. They have 2,000 canvassers. Apparently, they have hundreds of thousands of signatures already. It's freaking great. Good for you. Look at this. Huge crowds of Albertans line up to sign a petition to secede from Canada and make Canada the 51st state. Why don't we do a swap for a minute?
I don't think, though, I don't think it's about being the 51st state. I think the major push is just being an independent country in Alberta. Obviously, there's always a mix of priorities in any movement, but I don't think it's about joining America.
State. Why don't we do a swap for Minnesota? Canada gets Minnesota. We'll take Alberta. Look at all that land. Look at that giant territory. It looks awesome. Actually, how about we just arrest all the communists in Minnesota, kick out all the Smallies, and we'll keep both. This is historic. Edmonton turnout is real. Thousands and thousands of people
I'm sure
waiting to sign the
most people
independence
probably
petition.
know this, but obviously if you're Canadian,
awesome.
you know this. A lot of the Canadian provinces look so big, and they are, but I mean, the majority of the activity just happens in little pockets. Obviously, Alberta would be Calgary, Edmonton, plus Fort McMurray, Grand Prairie, or like areas where there's oil. It's obviously more than just that, but it is big, but a lot of that land is just sort of forest, and which is still valuable stuff, but it is just very incredible how much of the Canadian population lives within, I think, like 100 miles from the American border, maybe 100 kilometers even. It's something like 80%. It's some very high number lives right on the American border, pretty much.
Actually,
like Vancouver, very close. Toronto, very close. Montreal, I think Montreal is even included because I think it's closer to, maybe Montreal isn't, but I think Montreal is close to like Maine or something.
We just arrest all the communists in Minnesota, kick out all the Smallies, and we'll keep both. This is historic. Edmonton turnout is real. Thousands and thousands of people waiting to sign the independence petition. And
yeah, it's because Canada won't develop. Yeah, I agree.
Choose a new path forward.
Which is insane. I think a lot of bad policy from Canada is just coming home to roost right now. A lot of the stupidity of the Trudeau era.
To protect the next generation from Canada's downward spiral. Look at the number of people out in the cold, too. Of course, it's freezing cold there right now. Look at the number of people, and the line just goes on and on and on and on. Man, look at that. Good for them.
It just cannot be overstated how badly Trudeau ruined Canada.
People are fed up. Drone view from Edmonton. Aerial footage confirms it. Massive momentum. Let's go and watch some of this drone footage here.
Yeah, we covered this.
Wow. People are sick of their incompetent, globalist, uncaring governments. They're sick of it.
So again, I think it's noteworthy that huge American creators are picking this up.
Look at that. This is so cool. Look at it go on and on and on. 2.5-minute video. So amazing. All right. Good for you, man. Stay free.
Alberta, now Ontario. He's making it. Talking about Ford or
Alberta,
we screwed
sign
Alberta,
the
now
petition.
Ontario. Or you're talking about Carney. Yeah. I mean, the longer I follow this, I think the higher the odds of this petition or this referendum approving actually are.
Look at this. This would be, where can I sign my independence petition? Look at that. Alberta is a massive province. Massive.
Again, it's massive, but just like every Canadian province, there's a lot of that land that's just kind of chilling. Of course, that doesn't mean there aren't rare earth materials on that land, but yeah, Fort Mac and Grand Prairie are actually way further apart than I realized. I guess that makes sense. I used to play hockey in both of those places. They're not close at all, but that's even further than I thought.
Massive amounts of people wanting to secede Canada, 51st state. We would welcome it. Absolutely jaw-dropping out of Alberta right now. High taxes, central control, energy, strangulation, culture wars forced from above. Alberta's had enough. Infinity, Indian aliens, some of them illegal, some of them legal, whatever. And let's be honest, if Alberta ever chose freedom over Ottawa, Americans would welcome them with open arms. Energy, powerhouse, pro-freedom, pro-work, pro-common sense. The global realignment is happening right in front of us, and it is beautiful. The truth is, Canada has landlocked Alberta. Thankfully, we border the United States. Look at that. Federal obstruction, federal obstruction. But here, Alberta could take care of itself, right? Pump oil, Keystone Pipeline. They already have all these pipelines, energy export arteries. Could be totally and completely independent. Just be a, wow, absolutely intense lineup of people. Goes through.
That would be so incredible if that happened. So would the residents of Alberta then just be given American passports and stuff like that? Or how that would just be... I mean, I definitely think the Alberta secession movement, though, like I said, is about being an independent country, not being the 51st state of America. I haven't even actually heard that brought up at any of these pro Alberta secession rallies. I don't know. Obviously, like I said, in any movement, there's people that aren't going to agree with 100% of another person, but I definitely think it's about being an independent country. Hello, Jennifer. Thank you for watching. Just found your channel and watched your video from yesterday. Let's go, Alberta. Oh, thank you very much. If Aunt, Alb, and Sass got together and said they were going, holy shit, Carney will have to resign. But I don't know if Ontario and Alberta though would ever do that. Like, I don't think those two provinces are really in alignment that much. Because Ontario votes Liberal. Like, yeah, they have a conservative premier, but subscribe too. Thank you. But Ford is a big talk, no action. Yeah, Ford is the worst, man. Ford is, I think, the worst politician. Such a fake conservative.
The entire city blocks, people in Calgary ready to sign the petition to make independent sovereign nation of Alberta.
There's happening in Calgary too?
City blocks, people in...
That goes entire city blocks of people in... Oh, cool.
Calgary ready to sign the petition
that one yet.
to make independent sovereign nation of Alberta. Thousands of patriots in Alberta line up to sign the petition in Calgary.
Yeah, Ontario, I think, is a huge part of the problem. You can feel the wokeness in Toronto. Like, it feels like... I almost felt that recently when I was in Seattle, but I think it's even worse in Toronto. Toronto is, I think, a pretty dark, kind of creepy city.
Residents line up for blocks. I mean, there's thousands of these all over the internet, all over my timeline. 5,000 people were waiting in line at 10 a.m. to sign the Stay Free Alberta Declaration of Independence. Look at that. Day and night and day through the...
Yeah, no, we're trying to get away from Ontario. Yeah, I know Ford is liberal and we're screwed, but it would be nice. Yeah, I hear you. Chow is a moron for sure. 5 out of 6 of my family members signed the petition. This is Marty with who appears on the Clyde Do Something YouTube channel.
Cold. 5 out of my 6 family members signed the petition for independent Alberta. Number 6 is working up north at Fort Mac, and that's what we do in Alberta. Turnout is massive in Edmonton today for the referendum. This is historic. Something incredible is happening in Alberta. Look at that. Man. So cool to see. Proposed new border with Canada. We take Alberta. Canada gets Minnesota. Again, I think we'll keep Minnesota. We're not going to give up any territory. There are plenty of patriots in Minnesota. But we just have to arrest the communists, right? The Minnesota's a red state. Like, don't give up Minnesota. Minnesota's a red state.
Minnesota could be red, actually. That is true. It's been Democrat, but it's not that Democrat. Like, it doesn't go 70-30 or anything like that. I think it was maybe 57-43. That's just a guess, but it's not that. There are a lot of Republicans in Minnesota.
Fraud their way into being a blue state. The Canada you grew up in doesn't exist anymore. Independence
True.
For Alberta is Alberta's only chance to rebuild something much stronger.
Look, the pro-Alberta crowd has a very good argument right now. I think it's the correct time for them to kind of strike right now because there's a lot of, I think, just alienation from the Ontario and Quebec people. That wasn't worded correctly, but there's just a lot of alienation in Alberta about the way Canada treats them. And I think another thing that makes the pro-Alberta independence argument even stronger is the leader of the CPC right now, Poilievre, puts out this very weak statement, which I've covered in my other video that I did earlier today, a little bit. Also, my mouse broke, so I'm kind of a little handicapped on what I'm doing here, but it's not too bad. But I like the little wheel thing. I just ordered another one. I got to kind of do this with my left hand, which is fine. But this post here from Poilievre, I think, even would make the pro-Alberta independence argument stronger, because to an Albertan, you could look at this and be like, well, what the hell? Is there even a Conservative Party? What would even happen to Alberta if we did elect Conservatives federally? Would it be more of the same? Because this just reads like a liberal elbows up point of view. There's no reason to say this if you're Poilievre. Even if you mean this, it's so stupid politically. So yeah, I definitely think that's a mistake.
It's beautiful. Iconic. Kind of looks like Trump here.
Federal gun confiscation program has been rolled out today. Yeah, that was messed. Keep those options away.
What do you think? Are you somebody watching from Canada? I love our Canadian subscribers here on this channel. We support you. We are with you. We'll fight for Western civilization alongside of you, and we should all be united to do that. Just that. Manifest destiny. Canadians, take control of your land and your government.
Do you think, though, Emraz, he actually got the message? I don't know. Because I think he should have already learned that lesson during the election campaign. I hope so, but holy crap, like, it really bothers me how dumb Poilievre can be with those messages. To me, it just shows he doesn't understand what his job is. It's like he's trying to like have two goals: win, but not be too conservative, or like not be too. It just seems very weak and very indecisive, and like he still feels this great sense of guilt or something to pander to the center. That I don't know why he does that. Because politically, it makes no sense to me. I don't know strategically how one could say that is smart politically. Let's see what else we can find here on Alberta independence. Just some updates. Here, I watched that one already. I don't know if I really want to watch this like kind of graphic video thing. Yeah, maybe I will, but that was cool. Oh, this is now NATO. Yeah, there's a lot of videos today on Greenland, which I covered in another video. Hey, there's me. Oops.
And the current geopolitical dynamics of the hostility from the Carney government towards the United States and the national security.
Yeah, no, Emraz, I hear you. Like the pleb was upset. Mr. Sunshine Baby was upset. The leader of Rumble, David Pavlovsky, I think his name. No, Chris Pavlovsky, I think, was upset. I'll kind of do a detour here. I'll talk about immigration.
Canada's
This kind of ties into Alberta independence. Take a look at this here.
Canada's immigration system has reached a breaking point. According to the Canadian Immigration Lawyers Association, years of backlogs and a lack of a national strategy could result in long-term consequences. This all comes as Ottawa has started its plan to tighten our immigration rules and reduce residents over the coming years. We're joined this morning by Rick Lamana. He's a partner at Freggeman Law and a board member of the Canadian Immigration Lawyers Association. Good morning.
Good morning, Emery.
Just to set this up for people, we have about half the applications in backlog, and the count of that backlog is at 1 million. How did we get to this point?
Pretty layered question. You go back to COVID. I think in more recent times, one of the issues really has been the cutback in staffing. So over a year ago, IRCC decided that it was going to reduce staffing levels to pre-COVID numbers. The problem with that is that the intake is not at pre-COVID levels.
Right.
And so, there's only so much you can do with so many people. I think that's a big part of it.
We know the government has announced its plans to reduce Canada's non-permanent residents, including international students, by less than 5%. That mark is supposed to be by 2027. So this is part of addressing housing and infrastructure issues. At least that's what they said. Yet our colleagues in universities are financially struggling because of lack of tuition from international students. We're now competing for talent in AI and in research. So what policies need to shift to ensure that we can attract international talent, but also have what they need when they get here, including healthcare and housing?
Well, I think where we are is entirely predictable. And I say that because if for over a decade, you open the floodgates and you don't really have any sense of where these students are going and what programs they're graduating in, right? You're left with a huge number of students that now their pathway's blocked. So what do? The government decided it was going to stop those floodgates, close the funnel. And like you said, now we're in a situation where there are a lot of schools in big financial trouble. And so it's going to take a few years to work this out. It's interesting to note that the very day after they announced the levels plan back in late 2025, the very next day they announced for master's and doctoral students, Canada's open for business. We're going to expedite your application. We're going to expedite the application for your spouse if you have one. So the issue is a lot of mixed messaging. And regardless of the target, I'm not even sure if they're going to meet it, because I think what we're saying to international students abroad is, come and you might be able to stay, but that's not a guarantee. And so they may be looking elsewhere.
Last fall, Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada released the number of applications that it was wading through. And, as we mentioned, there were 2 million applications, but just over 1 million are in backlog. So the federal government says AI technology is going to help clear this. But just how effective is the system we have? Where does this leave people who are kept waiting? And how long does it take to go through 1 million applications?
A long time.
Like how many years could those people who are in the system be waiting? 5 years, 10 years?
It depends on what type of program you're applying for. But for example, take a spousal sponsorship. Those have increased by about 200%. Parents, grandparents, those have increased by about 400%. The issue is, will the government even process them all? Or will it just sort of cancel applications? Will it cancel entire programs? They've given themselves that authority, which feeds into the predictability aspect. We need to have a predictable system. This is what investors want. This is what businesses want. This is what individuals need in order to have faith in our immigration system. And to your point, over 1 million applications in backlog, and you referenced AI technologies. At this point, it's not solving the problem. If anything, it's resulting in some very wonky decision-making at best, suspicious at worst. So they're not there yet on the tech front.
Canada, we know, is focused on nation-building projects, and in order to meet those, we need workers. So how prepared are we for this sudden need in skilled labor?
Well, if you just go based on the numbers the government has proposed, we're not prepared. In fact, I made this comment some time ago that it's interesting to me that we're reducing these numbers at the exact same time that the same federal government is announcing some much needed nation building projects. And who's gonna build them?
Well, Rick, their argument on that is that they want those jobs to go to citizens who are already here in the country. What would your response to that be?
We don't have them. We don't have enough of those people. Sure, we have a very intelligent, educated, hardworking workforce. We just don't have the numbers. And when you're talking about some of these projects that they're announcing, these are massive, massive projects. So it's not a matter of Canadians not being good enough or not being willing to take the work. It's a matter of we just need more people to do them.
Rick Lamanna, partner at Fregman Law and board member of the Canadian Immigration Lawyers Association. Good to have you as part of this discussion. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
You too.
So what does the departure of a second Quebec Party leader in as many months mean for the future of the province and the chances of maybe another referendum on Quebec sovereignty? Well, joining me now, Dimitri Soudis, who is the Director of Communications and a Quebec advisor.
One final video here. And then I think I'll stop the stream and just do some other videos here. But we'll take a look at this one. I don't even know who this is from, but this is Sunshine Baby. But it's maybe this is just kind of a re-upload. It's from this other account, but that's Sunshine Baby in the corner. We'll see what he has to say about this. This is a pretty new video. At least it was updated 1 day ago. Let's take a look.
Alberta separation is actually happening. There are thousands, tens of thousands of people that are rushing into the streets to go and sign petitions and to vote on Alberta's separation in Canada. People are fed up, but the kicker is that it's not just Canada that's fed up. There's also a department in America, an official account that is actually starting to recognize Alberta as an independent country. This is absolutely insane, and let's get right into this video. All I ask in return is for you guys to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. You can see from this photo how many people are truly out in the streets getting ready to vote on behalf of Alberta separation. Even in the freezing cold, people do not care. Wow. Look at all those people, man.
He's so right.
And every photo, every video that we're showing, it's a complete different city. It's incredible how many people are coming together to vote for Alberta separation.
It is incredible. Wow. Just the act of these people doing this, I think, is the most optimistic I've been about Canada for quite some time. Just people kind of showing that they kind of get what is happening politically, and they're tired of it.
People want out. People are tired of being taken advantage of by the Liberal government, and it doesn't seem like anyone's going to fix it, except the people. This is what years and years of Liberal failures, of manipulation of politicians who don't care about the everyday working people. This is the effects. This is what happens. Oh, Ali, that's a big line, man. Wow. Look at that. Look at that lineup. Yeah, people are just done, man. People want out. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Alberta is freaking very likely to separate. People are pissed off. Rightfully so. Then you have the official Rise of Alberta X account that says Saturday, January 17th. Here's where you can meet, and in Edgemont and Edmonton. You have all the listings right there. Screenshot this if you need it. I know we're already kind of late in the day, but here's where you can find the places to go vote. Wow. Holy smokes. But here's where it gets even crazier, okay, ladies and gentlemen? This right here is the U.S. Oil and Gas Association. That's right, the official account, okay? It's got almost 60,000 followers, and they are representing America's oil and gas producers.
It was yesterday. Yeah, okay. Alberta has 19 cities and 105 towns, and we're only hearing about a few. I wonder what the total numbers are. I wonder as well. I tried to look that up the other day, but it said at the moment there was just no no updated data. I'll try again. But it's, I mean, it's understandable there's not going to be data yet. How many people have so far signed the Alberta independence petition? Show any data you have. They might not have anything though yet. In short, excuse me. As of now, there's no official publicly confirmed total. That kind of makes sense. I mean, for context, a separate citizen initiative circulated in 25 called Forever Canadian gathered 4, but was that, did people have to go in person to sign that? One is already. But the thing is, if that petition got 438, I mean, I don't think there's any way the Alberta exit petition is going to get less than 177,000. I mean, like that Alberta exit petition might get 500,000 at this rate. I don't think there's any chance it doesn't get like the threshold. And then it's going to be 2 questions. Number 1, will there actually be a vote, or will there kind of be some fishy business happening? Or, and then number 2, who will win? Will Alberta exit win, or will Alberta stay win?
And they're awesome workers. The account is run by US OGA president. That is wild. And
what don't they understand? We can't do nothing. The referendum is pointless. Is that what you mean?
He says, Alberta, we love you. You complete us. In regards to,
I think they want to keep it all under wraps until a long time from now. Yeah. Like, meaning how many signatures they have? The Prosperity Project? And then just kind of update it. Maybe they'll do like an update when they already have the full number. Or it's just like, it's different, right, than an election. They were all in person, the Forever Alberta stuff. That's cool. That one literally had no lines. Yeah, I barely even heard about that. And 438, I mean, frick, the Alberta Leave one might get 2 million. Protests about the other countries. Like the pro Canada. Sorry, Emraz, I don't know what you're talking about, but you probably commented on something before when I was going over it. Now I forget.
The most recent move that Canada just did by going to China, the Prime Minister of Canada just went to go and meet with the President of China, Xi Jinping, and now they want 50,000 Chinese spy mobiles.
Iran.
Okay,
Iran. I don't even know how I was talking about Iran. Iran this weekend. There were pro-Iran protests this weekend in Canada. I didn't even know that. I saw some last weekend, but
running around on the streets of Canada, going into America. That's crazy.
I find those Iran protests, though, way less annoying than the Palestine ones. Because I would probably support the Iran people rising up. I mean, I think that's actual bravery if you're in Iran. But again, it's the other area of the world. Like, ultimately, I actually don't give a crap because Canada has its own problems. Yes, release the numbers in April or so and be like, we have over 1 million. That might be what they're going to do. Richmond Hill. Okay, cool. Signing. Yeah, and they have an extra month. There was a new bill that I saw. For some reason, some First Nations people were pissed about, but I don't give a crap about that. But the signature threshold went way down, and you got an extra month. So whatever that bill was, it definitely makes it much easier for something like this to get the signature threshold to actually have this motion or this referendum or whatever.
Easy. I mean, there's no way that Trump is going to allow that to happen. And so even American organizations are starting to realize that Yep, Alberta has to completely separate. They even shared the photo of redrawing the map. Look at this redrawing. Alberta becomes a part of the United States, and then Minnesota becomes.
Who shared this? Did the White House share this? Or are you talking about Rise of Alberta?
Part of Canada. I mean, that's crazy. Totally crazy, right? That's an official account. That's an official account. That's bananas. And here's what mainstream media is reporting. Organizations are starting to realize to completely separate. They even shared the photo of
U.S. oil and it's an official. I don't know what he means by that. U.S. Oil and Gas Association. Is that an official account? I don't know. I guess so.
Bananas. And here's what mainstream media is reporting on the fact.
Hundreds of people.
Alberta Cora, hello. Thank you for chatting. Thanks for watching. The organization running the petition is called Stay Free Alberta, while the Alberta Prosperity Project is the educational organization. Due to election Alberta rules, they must be separate entities. Okay, interesting. I didn't know that for sure, but I basically just from my last few days of videos did see that. Stay Free Alberta and Alberta Prosperity Project, but yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Does that mean, Alberta Cora, that there won't be live updates of the number of signatures? You think? Thing is, I think it's inevitable they're going to hit their goal. Like, and the momentum, I don't know when the next events are scheduled to get people to go sign, but people in Alberta, I mean, it'd be very difficult to live in Alberta at this moment and not be aware of this. So if you're someone who's kind of been mulling it in the back of your mind, like, oh, maybe that would be a good idea, this is clearly going to be motivating because you go, wow, this actually might work. I think a lot of these movements, if you just feel so hopeless, you're like, well, I'm not going to do anything if I'm going to be one of 1,000 people that sign this thing, what's the point? But if I'm going to be one of like a huge group and I can actually make a difference, that's way more motivating. And again, like if you're in Alberta, there's probably a very low chance you have not heard of this. Even Canada, I mean, this is kind of breaking through the national, international news. Alberta will soon be like Ontario. Look at Edmonton and Calgary. Boobar, thank you for chatting. What do you mean by that? Like overregulated? I don't know. I probably agree with you, but I don't know exactly your point, if you don't mind expanding on that. Maybe Oilers will win the cup. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. They do not plan on releasing the amount of signatures. Okay, cool. Thank you. That's awesome. That's probably a good idea. They do not plan on releasing the amount of signatures as they want as many people as possible. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because if they say, oh, we're at 200, then if they're like, oh, we're at 180, whatever, then Joe Schmo in the middle of wherever, probably a patriot, is like, nah, I'm going to sit here. We're good. No reason for me to get up. Might as well just sit here and watch hockey. Also, each signature has to be verified by Elections Canada. Cool. Sounds like you've been following this, Alberta Cora. Shout out to you. That's great. They could call it Albert Looney. Yeah, there's a lot of questions. Like, isn't one of the arguments, at least made by the Prosperity Project, maybe, I don't know, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but of people that are pro this petition going through and Alberta leaving, I think they're saying that Albertans will still stay in the Canada pension plan, that deal can be struck, but and there's definitely some complexities about this. And then, like, yeah, what about the dollar? I think Alberta probably will have to have its own currency. Thing is, all that stuff, if it does happen, that'll all be annoying and a mess for a little while, you know what I mean? And then eventually it'll kind of resettle. So I don't think that initial kind of annoyance should be the reason to kind of vote for or against this, but it will be inconvenient for sure, but it won't be forever. It'll just be a kind of a reorganization. Markets will reprice everything. This has been building for at least 25 years. They hate the fact most of their money, yeah. It's been building, you're right. And the equalization system is so stupid. It's just, the equalization system just so blatantly unfair. And then also, I don't claim to be an expert on this, but Maxime Bernier was saying Quebec, to their advantage, doesn't put certain incomes or revenues into that formula. Like I think he said hydroelectric doesn't count, if I'm remembering this correctly. So obviously if you can represent on paper that you're poorer than you are, you get more of this equalization money, which is so insane. It is Quebec, the Quebec case to leave the country is so dumb in my opinion. Like Quebec gets so much from Canada, but the Alberta case to leave makes a lot more sense. Overrun with immigration, yeah. I think the whole country's been overrun with immigration. Yeah, they have a lot of things. My understanding is the pensions would be transferred to an Alberta pension plan. That's what I've heard as well. I've heard both like cases brought up. So yeah, I guess if it did, it would just be negotiated with how to break that up, the pension plan, and then bring it over. I think a lot of Albertans would be in favor of an Alberta pension plan. They have no legs. They will never survive. We could use the US dollar just as other countries. Yeah, we could. Alberta could. I don't live there anymore. Alberta could. I technically still am an Alberta resident, actually. But I'm just moving back to Saskatchewan. Alberta has contributed $600 billion more to Confederation than we have received in transfers and services over the last several decades. Yeah, really, $600 billion. Holy crap. Yeah, the Alberta case to leave just obviously makes way more sense than Quebec's. Quebec seems like it's kind of just about cultural supremacy or something. Like it's like a snobby kind of bullshit attitude that Quebecers have, which is just entitlement, I think. It doesn't make any sense, the Quebec argument to leave, because they get so much benefit from being in Canada, but the Alberta one makes a whole, like, way more sense. Quebec's argument is culture. We need to protect the Quebec culture, which I think is just an ambiguous sort of nothing argument. But Alberta's is, you could argue it's cultural for sure, but it's also economic. It's also the fact that there's not that much representation for Alberta in Ottawa. Like what Alberta does in a federal election basically means nothing. So they just get outvoted by Quebec and Ontario. Yeah, Quebec is like the have-not sort of thing. It's stupid.
Waiting out in the cold to sign a petition that is seeking a referendum on Alberta separating from Canada.
Your industry is garbage, and if you try to complain, we're going to call you a bunch of hicks and rednecks. Would any Albertan seriously take that offer? And so, you know what? We got the chance for freedom, and I'm going to support freedom.
Feelings of frustration towards Ottawa, one of the reasons why people turning out till Wednesday's petition signing.
The problem in Alberta that we have is all the oils in Alberta and all the dipsticks are out east.
The signing in Red Deer, organized by Stay Free Alberta, who is collecting signatures in support of Alberta Prosperity Project head Mitch Sylvester's petition. For petition supporter Brandy Bowman, she believes separating would mean better economic conditions in Alberta.
I have children at home. I have a 20-year-old daughter who lives in my basement and cannot find a job beyond, a measly minimum wage job. No matter.
I also think it's a good sign that a lot of people that want to leave Alberta are not scared about this. Like, there's a lot of people who are coming to these events fully, like, just showing their face. This is who I am. Sign my name. I think that's another positive movement positive sign for the movement. that people don't care to be interviewed. They'll share their point of view. Like, I think that's a sign that a lot of people are legitimately hurting and they don't care if they're judged for this by whoever would judge them, like some random person in Ontario or something. I like that. I'm a fan of, like, I don't see anyone wearing a mask in these lines. It just seems like a bunch of Albertans who are like, this is me, I'm here, this is what I think. Alberta's been taken advantage of. If it get out of the way, yes, Quebec. If I'm just reading some of these chats. Out of the way. Their oil industry has been gutted, and the high taxes. It's a no-brainer. They're going to vote for independence. Yeah. I would say, like, I don't think it's a no-brainer in the I get your point. Like, you're not, I don't think you're being like literal, but, or even if you think it's going to pass, I just think it's definitely, there's a lot of work yet for the Alberta independence crowd to keep winning over those voters. Like, I think if there was a referendum held today, who knows, but in the lead up to it, there's going to have to be a lot of campaigning and a lot of debate, I think, in public to convince those sort of middle of the road Albertans that you like can convince them that this is the way to go. But there's definitely a strong base. I think that's almost the inevitable part, that there's a very large enthusiastic base in Alberta that wants this vote. There's legislation called the Clarity Act, and all parties are to negotiate in good faith after a successful. Oh, cool. Alberta, Canada, First Nations. Yeah, I've seen people, some people saying online, like leftists, like they can't leave because the First Nations, it's their land. I think that argument is totally like just horse crap. Who cares? Just the pandering to First Nations in the last 10 years in Canada has been pathetic, and it's been very divisive. And I think it's only been to the benefit of like Indigenous leaders, like the people that work in like lobbyist organizations. I don't even think the average Indigenous person has been helped by this, to the like not very much anyway. I think it's been largely just divisive for the country. You've created all this hostility again. Like, there's so many areas in which Canada, like the societal fabric, is kind of coming apart. USA take Alberta in a week after out of Canada. This is Russian operation. Joe Nell. Well, thanks for chatting and watching. I don't fully get your point, though. USA take Alberta in a week after. Okay, so if Alberta leaves, it'll be an independent country for 1 week, and then USA will take it. Is that your point? Yeah. This is Russian operation. Sounds like you sound like Trump term 1, the CNN. Russia. What do you mean by that? Just for fun. How is it a Russian operation? Alberta leaving is it to like weaken Canada? Is that your point? They have made it law to be completely French speaking to enter Quebec. I think they tried, yes, but when you're in, like at least when you're in Montreal, there's still it's still majority English, actually. Downtown, at least. Like, English was more common. I don't think they like that, but you hear English more than French. Oh, wow, really? I'll play that right now, just for fun. The Jan Arden rant. Thank you. If you have the link, you can put it in the chat. I don't know if I think that'll work, but I'm sure just a Google would show that. Isn't Jan Arden pretty like great, like wild politically? Isn't she kind of like a crazy lunatic leftist? Quebec is French culture. The French have 2 husbands running the country. Ain't that a mouthful? Thank you for chatting, Stephen. Thank you for watching. Resigned, so right now it's just 1. But Blanchette, a freaking crazy funny dude. The thing about Blanchette, sometimes I actually like what he says, but very rarely. Because he would call out Trudeau and stuff, I remember. But that guy he said some very offensive things to Albertans. Blanchette, like making fun of their culture and stuff. So generally, I think that guy's kind of a clown, but the odd time he has. Hey, see you, Amras. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Have a good day yourself. A lot of Albertans moved here from other places, as did our ancestors, many of our ancestors. I left it all behind in BC 22 years ago. We have the spirit to fix things and take a chance. Yeah. I think a lot of Albertans feel that way, for sure. If they do get their independence, it will cause a domino effect in the other provinces. That'd be interesting. Yeah. Yeah, because then what does Saskatchewan think? Saskatchewan's so much smaller, though. Like I think it'd be way harder for Saskatchewan to do something like this. Like I think it'll be hard for Alberta, but it'll be harder, I think, the smaller you get, because how do you run your country? Like Alberta has Calgary, kind of a major center. It'd be like the financial hub. I don't know.
Or what schooling you have.
She and other supporters believe even if the Conservatives were to gain power federally, that wouldn't help.
I think because a lot of stuff still wouldn't actually change. We're tired of the equalization payments.
Canada's going downhill fast.
Sure is.
They're going to be bankrupt.
A dueling petition that seeks to have Alberta remain in Canada has already collected the necessary signatures with over.
If you're in watching this, I appreciate you watching. Feel free to chat. I like chatting back and forth. Whatever your point of view is, I don't care if you agree, disagree. Just say whatever you want. I like talking to chat. Also, like the video, please, and if you could subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on this channel. That'd be wonderful. I have another YouTube channel that's like well above 1,000. It's monetized and stuff, but you need 1,000 to turn on monetization. So that would be great. But yeah.
400,000 people signing on for the pro-separation petition to succeed. 177,732 signatures are needed by May 2nd.
In the long run, it's going to benefit a lot of people. It'd be nice to really see.
I'm not sure. I'll just show quickly my other channel, not to say to like promote it, because it's fine. It doesn't. I don't think well, you might like it, but just so you see, like I already am kind of like a YouTuber that's been doing it for a while. This is my other channel. I'm focusing on this one more right now, but this is my other YouTube channel that actually is like a real channel. Actually has like real views, but this channel I'm currently doing, the Canada one, I'm just trying to get it kind of built up. Albertans can't trust the Liberal government to negotiate a trade deal with USA. Yep. I think you're right. I think that definitely is feeding into the problem here with why many Albertans want to separate. I'll say this again because I got more people in here right now. If you disagree with this, that's fine. But I think Poilievre's post that he did yesterday kind of adds to the reasons for Albertans to potentially want to separate, because if the Conservative leader federally sounds like a liberal in this statement, which I think he does, I think it's like kind of doomer for Alberta, because they might say, well, even if the Conservatives win at our federal level, what are we going to get? If Poilievre is saying like, this basically sounds like an elbows up Trump derangement syndrome. Even if Poilievre thinks this, I'm fine if he personally has this take, but politically, what are you doing? Do you want to win or do you want to lose? He's basically going on about NATO, even though Canada has been a chronic underfunder of NATO, which is so stupid. I think kind of takes away our position to be complaining about this. If we can't even contribute to like our 2% goal in NATO, why should Trump listen to us? But I think this kind of makes the Alberta independence argument even stronger. I think that's a huge mistake from Poilievre. And then even some Conservatives in the comments are calling him out, like Pleb. Didn't like that. Sunshine Baby, Chris Pavlovsky, the leader of the CEO of Rumble. Sunshine Baby. A lot of Conservatives are like, what are you doing? But so I like Poilievre sometimes, but and when I do, like I just made a pro Poilievre video yesterday even, but I thought that was a very big mistake. More than likely, Alberta and Sask would join together. Yeah, that'd be cool. But I think Alberta has I just said this, so I won't say it again, but I think it'll be easier for Alberta to leave. Just based on its like higher population, more resources, stuff like that. There are moral differences between Alberta and Canada. Yep, I agree with that. Thank you for chatting, Harley. Thank you for watching. Trump White House has given a successful referendum and negotiations with Canada to leave. They will recognize us as an independent. Yeah, the Trump White House has kind of been talking about this, right? Maybe not Trump himself, but there's been people in that administration who have said things, I think, like if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't maybe a trade representative talk about this, or maybe someone like Doug Burgum? I'm kind of over my skis here right now. I'm not 100% sure, but there's been some chatter, at least from Americans, about this. I just covered earlier in this stream, big American YouTuber Benny Johnson did a full video on this today. Maybe yesterday, whenever it was. If they do get independence, yeah, I already read that one. Alberta, oh, yeah, I read that one too. You bet. After Scott Moe's response, after the trip to China, I wonder if more and more Saskatchewanites will want. But the thing is, like, the Scott Moe thing, I'm fine with Scott Moe doing that because that is, like, in the interest of Saskatchewan to get some of those tariffs down. I don't know what Scott Moe, as like the leader of one of the least populated provinces in the country, is kind of like, I'm not sure what he's supposed to do. If he, like, it's not up to him to represent the interests of Alberta. I'm fine with people wanting to represent their own citizens, kind of like nationalist, but like a provincialist. That's even a word. So I hear you. I get your point though. Northwest Territories, Alberta, Sask, and Northern Manitoba were once referred to Buffalo. Really cool. Being split apart in order to join Confederation. Because together they would rival the East. Dang, man. Alberta Corey, you sound like you are pretty up to speed on history. It's very impressive. There are moral differences. I read that one already. They mentioned that Alberta and the USA would have the shortest trade agreement with the USA. Cool. It would consist of 1 page, 0 tariffs with both. Wow. Who said that, Abe? I believe you, but I would like to see that. That's very, very fascinating. Maybe this is Trump's entire play. Maybe he just wants this to happen, this outcome. Because I've made the point before. If Canada, like the entirety of Canada, actually became the 51st state, Republicans, I think, would have a very hard time winning elections. Because I think if Canada is a state, it would have maybe 60 electoral votes, and Canada would vote Democrat like you would not believe. Canada would never vote Republican as a whole place. Like maybe Alberta, maybe Saskatchewan, although I don't even know. But you'd have oh, cool. What did that happen? Oh, nice. That actually worked. I got like a little, thank you for subscribing. I didn't know that would work. I think that's the first time someone has subscribed while I've been live. I just set that up on my stream, but that was a cool little graphic. I was actually wondering what that noise was. I'm like, is that my phone? There will be no more Democrats. It's all part of the plan. Yeah, I actually think, like, from a game theory point of view, I don't even know if, but Alberta joining USA is probably the, by far, most advantageous thing for a Republican politician.
The worth of this province come back to this province.
In Red Deer, Edward Jen, City News.
I mean, that couldn't be more properly said. That's exactly.
There will be no more Democrats, yeah. Circagon, thank you for chatting. Thanks for watching. The Electoral College works better than what we have in Canada by balancing the weight of votes with areas that have less people with areas that have more people. Yeah, a lot of Americans complain about the Electoral College too. Meaning, it's mostly, I'd say, like the people that work at the big networks. Like I've seen Lawrence O'Donnell at MSNBC going on and on about that. But yeah, I think it's kind of similar. Like I looked that up the other day. The population amounts in Ontario and Quebec are pretty close to the proportion of MPs they get. The problem, though, is just Ontario and Quebec are so big that they just totally overshadow Alberta. So it does the way that the country is sort of set up population wise, and then plus like Canada. Another thing I'd say that hurts the average conservative voter is Canada's insane immigration policy. Like I didn't even know it was this high. 25% roughly of Canadians are foreign born, and I think a lot of them probably think, hey, let's vote left wing to get more benefits. I think that's kind of a trend. I know a lot of immigrants come over here and they don't think that way. Like some immigrants come here and they have conservative traditional values, but a lot of people do come to Canada and then want to kind of milk the government. And the natural position there would be, let's vote left for a bigger government. So I think there's a lot of kind of things that are, there's definitely a lot of things that work against Alberta. So if you look at, yeah, Circagon, that's a good point. Popular, like Andrew Scheer won the popular vote, I think, right? Did Andrew Scheer? I'm going to double check that to make sure I'm not just spouting a bunch of crap. And that was back in 2019. Yeah, that's incredible. So Scheer won. Did Poilievre win the popular vote? No, he did not. Carney won, I guess. Man, Poilievre dropped the ball. What about Aaron O'Toole? I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, that's true. Conservatives won the popular vote twice. O'Toole and Scheer. Man, that would have been way better if Scheer would have won. But I'm actually in favor of the electoral college in America. I'm fine with it. I'm not interested in having another central government where our vote would count for nothing, just as it does here. Yeah, good point. Good point. But I think from an Alberta point of view, you could definitely make the argument that Alberta would align more. Tell me if you disagree with this. Would align more with Republicans than it does with Conservative Party of Canada. I kind of think like many Albertans are more Republican than they are CPC, but maybe I'm a little biased with that take. People that complain are always losing. Yeah. I think when the new country of Alberta matures, we'll like to have an electoral college. Everyone is represented. That'd be cool. Like a little college for Calgary, Edmonton, Grand Prairie area, stuff like that. I think is what you mean. Fort McMurray area. The Republicans don't want Alberta to be a state because the Democrats would want Puerto Rico to be a state. That's a good point. But that is a good point. I wonder how that would. I mean, I think there's Puerto Rico has 3.2 million people. Oh, Puerto Rico is actually richer than I thought. Yeah, I thought Puerto Rico was a little more poor than this. It's not. It's still more poor than Alberta, but. That's a good point. I actually have not thought of that. I don't even know. I don't even have a point of view on that, really. I don't even know what to say. Never thought of that. All the rural areas could be taken into consideration more than they have been with an electoral college. Right, yeah. I think that's definitely a trend in Canada and America that if you live in a small town, probably most of your life, you probably think, well, my vote goes means so little, because people in cities, and this has definitely been happening in Canada, just like downtown Toronto can swing an election.
Right. People of Alberta deserve to prosper, and so much of that money goes to leeches like Quebec. The Quebec people are fine. It's the politicians, man. The politicians are just sucking Alberta dry. It's gross. And people, as you can see, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are fed up.
Look, he's right, but I don't know if there's anyone from Quebec in the chat. I think there are a lot of excuse me, people that live in Quebec that have this very off-putting anti-Canada point of view. Like, there are a lot of Quebecers that actually think that Canada sucks. Now Albertans think that, finally. But I think Quebecers have been thinking that for a long time, and for no reason, because Quebec gets so much benefit. So there is a very weird attitude in Quebec when you go there toward Canada. Like, they don't celebrate Canada Day, many of them. And yeah, just a lot of them consider themselves Quebecers and not Canadians as much. Alberta would be the 6th richest nation on earth by wealth and population. I don't want to be like that's not true. It would be like, it'd probably be like, it wouldn't even be close to that. I think Canada is like the whole of Canada. Whatever. I'm not trying to dunk on you here, but I'm not going to say this, but no, but that's not true.
Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are fed up with this.
As you can see behind me, there are hundreds of people lined up to sign a petition. What's the question? Should Alberta separate from the rest of Canada?
You can see the line. Like, the lines are there everywhere. For every event, doesn't matter, small town, big city, medium city, the lines are there.
This is one of over 30 similar events being held across the province in January. Brandy Bowman showed up because she says she's tired of Western Canada being ignored.
We're not your enemy. We've actually done a lot for you guys. So now we're just going to do it.
If you're in the chat, like and subscribe, and then also feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have a good chat back and forth. A lot of people have been chatting. It's been nice. Alberta, Cora, Harley, Aid, bunch of people. Circagon, Yoho, Loho. I like that name. Yoho, Loho. Sounds like Hawaiian or something. Yoho, Loho. Let's see another video on this here. Well, I'll finish the video we're watching, but...
Well, it's here. Alberta.
Continue the status quo, or are we going to make
This is the guy.
I
didn't even know who this was.
Because we're too busy paying all of our taxes out east, and we get nothing back in return. And the people here have to work extremely hard to pay their rent, to pay their gas bills, to buy their food, and I think enough is enough.
The federal government doesn't seem to be interested in working with Alberta, and it's unfortunate.
This is the guy, I believe. No, not even I believe, he is. He's the guy behind the Prosperity Project. And I saw in another interview, he said that what really bothered him, his store got closed during COVID, but down the street, stores like, I think he said Walmart and Home Depot were open. So that's incredible. But shout out to this guy, because this guy is maybe the face of this movement, if not the face, one of the faces.
But you know what? We have a choice to make, whether we continue the status quo or we're going to make a change.
I think I want to see change for my kids. I don't want them to carry all the debt that's going to happen by keeping in what we have right now. Organizers say roughly 1,700 people showed up to a second signing event in Eckville.
Oh my gosh. I hadn't heard that yet. I mean, this petition it's over to the second one, and in just one spot. That's 1% of the goal.
A second signing what we have right now. Organizers say roughly 1,700 people showed up to a second signing event in Eckville. About
oh my God. I've never even heard, well, no, I have, but Eckville, 1,700 people to the second one. Like, this might already have 177,000.
50 kilometers from Red Deer. They believe momentum is picking up, but there's still work to be done.
We've already got over 2,000 canvassers, so we're gunning for a lot more. So I think
you're still on. Yeah, Emraz, I'm still here. Still here.
I think that's going to be super. I think this is a true grassroots movement.
We're confident that we're going to, we're going to achieve our goal. We're going to shatter our goal of 177,000 signatures.
This guy's another big name around this. I actually heard about this guy a little before. Probably the only person in the Alberta independence movement, to call it that I had seen or heard of. But this guy's also, I'd say, a face of this entire thing.
We're trying
like
to do
the
everything
cowboy hat.
we can to get well over 1 million signatures before the 120 days is up. So that's our goal.
Wow.
They have until the start of
signatures before the 1,000 signatures, and we're trying to do everything we can to get well over 1 million signatures before
that's incredible. I think they probably will get over 1 million.
120 days is up, so that's our goal.
They have until the start of May to gather those signatures, which will then need to be verified. If this succeeds, it could go to a referendum or be discussed in the Legislative Assembly. At minimum, it will definitely send a message to the residents of Alberta and the government. And if it doesn't,
maybe I'll leave Canada. I'm not like...
There's got to be a referendum, like what she said there. It's too big now. You can't screw these people. There'd be like way too much frustration if you just said, well, we hear you. We're going to make changes. We hear you, Alberta. Sorry for screwing you over, but no referendum. I do not see that being a viable option. In my opinion, this referendum is definitely going to happen. Too big to rig. I agree. It is too big to rig now.
If this succeeds,
again, as long as this momentum keeps up, it'll be definitely too big to rig. It's not maybe over yet, but
May to gather those signatures, which will then need to be verified. If this succeeds, it could go to a referendum or be discussed in the Legislative Assembly. At minimum, it will definitely send a message to the residents of Alberta and the government. And if it doesn't,
had to go have supper. Yeah, I know. I was going to say that, but I just decided to stay on. What'd you have for supper? Alberta is sitting on third world largest oil reserves in the world. We pay $5,500 to Ottawa for every man, woman, and child in Alberta. This is money Alberta pays, doesn't get back. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons for Alberta to be pissed. And it would be definitely good for Alberta not to have to pay that equalization payment to have-not provinces, aka mostly Quebec. That was misinformation. The petition is specifically for a referendum on a defined constitutional question. Okay, really interesting, Alberta. Petition is specifically for a referendum on a defined. So when she says, so are you saying that if the referendum passes, which it definitely, I would say, not definitely, but I'd say very good chance it will get to 177. You think, like, constitutionally, it has to be taken to a vote?
if this succeeds, it could go to a referendum or be discussed in the Legislative Assembly.
Is that the misinformation you're talking about, Cora?
At minimum, it will definitely send a message to the residents of Alberta and the government. And if it doesn't,
maybe I'll leave Canada. I'm not like...
Oh, you're considering it?
Considering it, yeah.
Do you know where you would want to go? Maybe?
I don't know. Maybe Mexico?
The opposing...
A lot of people choose like Florida, Texas, Mexico, stuff like that, Costa Rica. I mean, people are fed up, right? That's the whole point of what's going on. People are fed up. The Liberal government has been ruining Canada for far too long, and Alberta actually has...
Whoops. Oh, is this the same
momentum to get the hell out? Good for them. Like and subscribe. I'll see.
He means like and subscribe to me. News. Okay, I saw a recent video from CTV on this subject. We'll take a look at it. Man, CTV posts a lot on their channel. But it's just right around here. I wonder if the news will really want to talk about this very much. This is a 2-hour video. I'd like to, but I don't know what percentage of this will actually be talking about it. Maybe I'll try that after, but here's a
group of Albertans.
Recent video from today, 4 hours ago, CTV News. Hundreds line up to sign Alberta separation petition.
Group of Albertans wanting to separate from Canada is confident it will collect enough signatures for an official referendum question in the fall. CTV's Nicole Lam.
To be an independent nation, Alberta would have to form its own military. It'd be cheaper and easier to just make Alberta a 51st state. Same name, same people, same culture, just part of the U.S. Okay, that's good or interesting take, Jimmy. Thanks for chatting. Thank you for watching. Jimmy would say it's better just to be the 51st state. I mean, militarily, it's a good point. It's tough to argue that from a military perspective, have the strongest military on earth. That's another thing, though. I mentioned this earlier. Canada, maybe in another stream, but Canada has for far too long gotten very comfortable and taken for granted the military protection of America. We've been underpaying into NATO, but then we're just right beside America, and our friends America, our big brother America, will just keep us safe no matter what, even though we're going to prioritize climate change and like transgenderism and all this other crap. But America, militarily, will just rely on you with your strong economy and your strong commitment to military. So, yeah, kind of a separate point, but Canada, I think, has had like a ridiculous point of view towards the military for quite some time. That's why I think it's very difficult for Canada to have any leg to stand on when politicians try to tell America not to want Greenland. Like, what the heck has Canada been doing about this? I think Canada has no power really to say that. Ottawa cannot stop the referendum. The Supreme Court of Canada is responsible to confirm the referendum was completed with a clear question and clear majority. Okay, interesting. Referendum by Alberta law has to happen within 1 year. Okay, cool. But what that person said on CBC was not great then. Why and LOL? Upon meeting the signature amount. Cool. With respect to Jimmy, Alberta would be better as an independent country. Okay, cool. So we got some alternate takes here. It could pay for the resources of the United States military if it needed them. Kind of like contribute. Maybe Alberta would be admitted to NATO. I don't know. Those are things for down the line, but Alberta would be like a candidate. It would fit a similar profile to other NATO countries, like Western country, developed, advanced economy, English speaking. Just depends. Like, there'd obviously be some initial tension and bad feeling between Canada and the new Republic of Alberta if that happened. But Alberta, at least, I mean, it definitely fits the profile of a NATO country. Canada is a joke when it comes to military, LOL. Alberta will be able to form a military service with no problem. Yes, Caleb, but I mean, like, just there's the economics of it. It won't be that strong. Again, like, Alberta is not going to be a country or a country that's going to like want to fight with anybody. So I don't think Alberta is going to be a natural enemy for anybody. But the USA is great. but Alberta needs to control. I think you gotta, if you're Alberta and you do become an independent country, I think you have to have a strong working relationship with America, which is kind of what everyone is saying in the chat, even if they don't 100% agree. I think it's very important to work out a deal with that, with America, yeah, for that kind of protection. The USA is great, but Alberta needs to control its immigration. If the Dems get in power, they could flood Alberta with illegals. Yeah, good point. Good point. Thing is, Canada has so much legal immigration. We have less of an illegal problem, but the Canada legal immigration levels are totally off the charts.
Is at the legislature with the latest on this for us this morning. So, Nicole, this group holding its first Edmonton event over the weekend, gathering signatures. What did people in attendance have to say?
Well, Kent, one woman that we spoke with says she was happy to be among like-minded people.
I'm hoping that we do have our independence. If we don't get that, at least, you know, the feds will take notice and we get the same concessions that Quebec has. I mean, that could be the least that we get out of this.
Good point.
Over the weekend, Stay Free Alberta held a canvas.
I don't know if that, probably most people lining up probably want the exit, but yeah.
Over the weekend, Stay Free Alberta held a canvassing event in Rundle Park in Edmonton. By midday, they say at least 500 Albertans were seen lining up to sign. The group has been hosting events across the province since Elections Alberta.
At least 500. There's way more than that. The Fringe was out there, live streaming, as well as PJ.
Gave them the green
anyway.
light earlier this month. Last year, the province's chief electoral officer had concerns about the constitutionality of the group's question. A judicial review was underway but ended a month ago when the UCP government passed Bill 14. It includes discontinuing court proceedings brought forward by the chief electoral officer. Stay Free Alberta's proposed question is, do you agree that the province of Alberta should cease to be a part of Canada to become an independent state? The group's lawyer feels their efforts to collect the necessary 177,000 signatures will send a strong signal to Ottawa.
If we exceed 1 million signatures, that's going to be one of the strongest messages ever sent to a provincial government anywhere in Canada.
An opposing group, Forever Canadian, launched its own referendum question petition early last year asking, do you agree that Alberta should remain in Canada? It needed to collect 300,000 signatures to succeed and managed to collect 450,000. In the summer, the UCP government reduced the threshold of signatures needed by nearly half. At that time, Premier Danielle Smith cited separatist sentiment being a big reason for the move. Smith has said she supports a sovereign Alberta within a united Canada. Now, the Blood Tribe First Nation is vowing to fight this separatist question.
I do not care about this one bit. The First Nations being upset about this? Man, I don't care at all about that.
Vowing to fight this separatist question. And a Native Studies professor says that if Danielle Smith's government does not want to appear separatist, then her party has to do a better job in having discussions with First Nation leaders. More on this in half an hour. Kent.
Man, that has been going on for way too long in Canada. We need to have, like, the First Nations, those leaders. It's not the Indigenous people. The First Nations leaders, I think, are getting away with just a ridiculous racket of the complaining. We need more money. We need more meetings. We need more attention. The First Nations leaders are kind of, to me, remind me of the Kardashians or something. Just like drama queens that are constantly saying things like that.
Was a busy.
And they want, like, to be like, oh, you guys are so great. Thank you for everything. It's your land. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think a lot of those leaders that get trotted out on TV are very cringe. And why are so many, like, the Indigenous leaders that get on television in Canada so leftist? That can't be representative of all Indigenous people. They're not all whack job leftists that, like, just want to complain and suck up or whatever. If we stop giving all our money to foreign countries, including Ottawa, we will have the best military on the planet. We are very patriotic. I know it will take no time. I hear you, Caleb, but we're not gonna, like, Alberta or Canada are not gonna overtake America. I agree. Like, there could be a very strong, like, capable military, but America is like we just have no chance. America's like the GOAT country for military. Just the huge economy. All those very advanced companies, Anduril, Palantir. Even like the legacy ones too, like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon. Prayers for Albertans and Wexit independence. From Michigan, USA. Nice. Hello, Susie. Thank you for chatting. Thank you for watching. Shout out to you. Michigan. Michigan went red. Shout out to Michigan. Alberta has to have a good faith negotiation with the federal government of Canada and First Nations, but they do not get a veto. Yep, I agree. I agree with that. That's why I liked Poilievre's statement on that. I loved his statement on that. He essentially echoed what you said, but lately, that statement that Poilievre had on Greenland, I've made that point. That statement was dumb. Every indigenous individual gets exactly the same vote as the rest of us. I agree. That's my, like, I think lately, for sure, in 10 years, there's been a push in Canada for Indigenous people come before the average Canadian. That's how I view it, and I hate that mentality. I think it's so stupid. Like, it's just everyone is the same. And then I even think that's true in Canada for LGBT stuff. I think it's lately kind of trending back towards a happy equilibrium, but 2-3 years ago in Canada, it was like LGBT better for a while, I think, which is, yeah. I think if it's just kind of comes back to maybe where it was 10 years ago, be a happier medium. 25-year Army veteran. Canada is now declined to be a light power. There are other countries that are middle powers. There are countries that are powerful. The U.S. is a superpower. Yep, I agree. Don't compare Canada, certainly the country of Alberta. Yeah, I agree. But I get, like, Alberta, you want to contribute militarily, show basically the U.S. that you're like a capable ally and you're willing to help. But yeah, USA is just, that's why all this talk of, when you see people on these TV networks railing against the morality of America, that's so dumb. Like, we need America, no matter what. No matter what the situation is moving forward, America is so important to Canada. It's incredible. Even if Canada tries to diversify trade away a little bit, America will always be the #1 most important country to Canada, and it won't even ever be close. Even if there is like a huge effort to diversify away, America will be, yeah, it'll never be close. Last one to call themselves Canada pays the debt. It's going to be a hot potato. That's funny. Thank you for chatting, Mike Taryn. Thanks for watching. And if you're in the chat or for whatever you're watching, if you could like and subscribe, basically just subscribe. Like is great too, but I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so this channel can be monetized. I'm one of the First Nation in Alberta. Oh, nice. I can't wait to separate from Canada. Canada just helps the corrupt chiefs. Based. Caleb Willard here coming in with the based take from the top rope. Let's go, Caleb. Shout out to Caleb. Nothing for the people like me. We will be friends with USA. Let's go. Let's go, Caleb. I like that take. We are in the middle of the dome. USA is going to do something. Yeah, the dome. The Golden Dome. I know Trump's talked about the Golden Dome. I wonder when that'll happen. Why deal with the US when you could be besties with China?
was a busy weekend for a group of Albertans trying to force a referendum on separating from Canada. Hannah Lapine is in this morning, and Hannah Canvas.
It's kind of interesting that that subscribe thing only worked once, right? The little blinker on the screen, because I think I've gotten more than one subscriber for sure since this stream has been going, but.
Was a busy weekend for a group of Albertans trying to force a referendum on separating from Canada. Hannah Lapine is in this morning, and Hannah, canvassers were out in full force.
Yeah, Jefferson, events were held in central and southern Alberta, including in Edmonton and Okotoks. Stay Free Alberta, the group heading the petition, has been hosting canvassing events across the province since Elections Alberta gave them the green light in early January. They need 177,732 signatures by May 2nd in order
Let's hear some guesses in the chat. How many signatures do you think they already have? The goal is 177,000. I'm going to guess they have 50,000? I don't know. I'm just pulling that number right out of my butt. I'm going to guess 50,000. Let's hear some of your guesses.
Trigger a referendum vote. By midday on Saturday, at least 500 Albertans had shown up to a northeast Edmonton park to sign their names.
Alberta needs to be strong and free.
Let's go.
From the shackles of the Liberal government. We are tired. We don't matter in this relationship, and it has to stop. I think we've had enough.
If you don't take
Based lady, Alberta's campers were not in full force because many are waiting to get our license from Alberta election. There's more. Oh, really? What do you mean by that, Harley? Alberta's campers were not in full. I think I know what you mean, but there's more talk that they already. Wow, really? Wood Rag. Thank you for chatting. Thanks for watching, Wood Ragger. Holy. They blew through that 200K. That's Mraz's guess. Rumor on the street is there's roughly 145,000. My goodness. Canvases. Okay, cool, Harley. Oh, I see, Harley. Interesting. That's interesting. 145,000. Holy crap. Yeah. I like, honestly, 50K is probably low, but I didn't want to. I'm going to just make up a number. I feel like it's a little bit better to be a little conservative. This is the first time I've seen your show. Thanks for speaking the truth. Thank you for saying that. Thanks for watching. I'll follow, and you get one like from me as I only get on. LOL, great show. Thank you, man. Thank you. It's a lot, but I have no idea really. Just like others have said, there are rumors that is already at the goal or close to it. Isn't that incredible? K-Bar, thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting. Steve G, thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting if I didn't say that. Becca, the KA maybe. I'm in Calgary. I don't know where I go to sign this petition. Please, can anybody help me? The KA, thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting. I'm not like the guy on that question, but I think there'd be some information here. Like Alberta Prosperity Project. And then anyway, like some of the, I don't really want my channel to be about I'm fine with this, but I don't want this to be like the purpose of my channel. But yeah, there's Alberta Prosperity, maybe someone in the chat, but Alberta Prosperity Project, or what's the other one? Stay Free Alberta. And there's a Twitter account, Rise of Alberta. Yeah. I just don't know if there's like rules about on YouTube if I have to get into that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm more just concerned about the YouTube element of that. If I'm like doing something like explicitly political. I'm in Calgary. You have a website. Are you asking me a question there? Do I have a website? Because no, I don't have a website. Or I think you're responding to her. Yeah. Look at Alberta free webpage for places to sign petition. There is a huge problem in Canada It is not a true democracy. Therefore, you know who holds all the cards. Nice. Now that thing worked. Let's go. That's worked twice now. That's a cool little blink, blink, blink. Check online for where to sign at Stay Free Alberta. Stay Free Alberta is the one you want. Okay, cool, cool. Go out to the chat.
This opportunity, then you'll just go along with what the federal government, you know, you gotta like speak for yourself, you know. This is the power of the people, our voices.
Agreed.
Yeah. Like, what do we have if we don't have our voice?
That was funny.
Meantime, another petition is nearing its deadline. This one looks to oust Education Minister Dimitrios Nicolaides. The woman behind it, Jenny.
No idea who that is. Does anyone know who that is? Okay, I'm going to load up. We'll keep it going a little bit longer. We'll try to get another. Alberta. 51st state here. Yeah, but this 2 months ago.
It is Monday, January 9th. Check it out. It's the news you need to.
Thinking about what to do in the moment, I want to set kids across the country. Kathy Lee, CTV News.
State, some from our city showed up Saturday to support the movement.
Alberta needs to be free from Ottawa. That's why. We had enough of being abused.
I'm so happy to be among like-minded.
Your 5-day forecast.
You need to start your day.
Kent, they need 177,000 by May 2nd. Stay Free Alberta's proposed question is, do you agree that the province of Alberta should cease to be a part of Canada and become an independent?
Education Minister of Alberta. Cool. Alberta Cora, bringing the heat with the Alberta knowledge here.
State, some from our city showed up Saturday to support the movement.
Alberta needs to be free from Ottawa. That's why. We had enough of being abused.
I'm so happy to be among like-minded people, and yeah, it's awesome. I'm so happy.
Stay Free Alberta held a canvassing event in Rundle Park Saturday. By midday, they say at least 500 Albertans were lining up to sign. The group has been hosting events across the province since Elections Alberta gave them the green light earlier this month. Last year, the province's chief electoral officer had concerns about the constitutionality of the group's question. A judicial review was underway but ended about a month ago when the UCP government passed Bill 14.
We watched part of this, but it does shift, I think. I don't think
it includes discontinuing court proceedings brought forward by the chief electoral officer. The Blood Tribe First Nation says it is vowing to continue to fight against this particular referendum question, saying it requires consent. A Native Studies professor adds in that the separatist question is offensive and alarming.
If the UCP doesn't want to be known as a separatist party, they're going to have to take...
No, this is new stuff. This is a Native Studies professor, Matthew Wildcat. Man, this stuff really makes me sick, sort of. Just, come on, man.
Much more substantive steps in order to go and talk to and listen to First Nations leadership.
An opposing group, Forever Canadian, launched its own referendum question petition early last year asking, do you agree
that... this, I'll go ahead a little bit.
For the move, Smith has said she supports a sovereign Alberta with
energy, technology, and agriculture in 2024.
I guess that's it for that. I'll try to find another video here. There hasn't been, I think a lot of the big news stations today are talking about Greenland, which I find that story fascinating as well, but I'll take a look at this video here. Alberta. There's like just a legitimate YouTube video that we can watch. This might have some cool data in here.
This is interesting.
We'll watch this. This might be like an AI slop YouTube video. We're taking a gamble here together. Let's go. This channel has 18 subscribers, so this might be the only video on this channel. There's also just a lot of... I'm just reading some other things. That might be kind of interesting to see, actually, in the context of this, but there's a lot of AI videos that have taken over. You probably noticed, like, especially on the short video stuff, TikTok, things like that, but I think long form YouTube is about to be flooded with AI stuff. This might be that. We'll see. Like, you can kind of tell if it's sort of badly written in the beginning. It's like this. Hey, Eric, you were still going. Holy. Hey, D2C. Shout out D2C. I'll get to your chat in a sec. A native studies professor means that she gets paid to say what she says. First Nations leadership should be thrown in jail. Billions of dollars spent. That's a great point, Caleb. That is a great point. Still no clean drinking water. And like the circumstances of many reserves are not great. I mean, I've only been to, I think, like 2, but now when you go there, you're like, geez, this isn't like that well maintained. Maybe there's exceptions or there's other ones, but First Nations people of Greenland were sterilized by Denmark. They could keep the population low. All this was against their will. The USA will treat them much better. That's a, wow, that's a good, I've never heard that before, but great argument. So we're sterile, holy crap. When was that? Or at least when were they accused of that? Either way, holy. Yeah, I don't think the US will treat them bad at all, the people of Greenland. That's the other thing about why, you know, being a part of the USA will have a ton of benefits. I had to get a haircut and a car wash. D2C. I need a haircut. Like, I kind of like having long hair if I can grow it out, but it does have a tendency to kind of bunch up. So I don't know. Maybe I'll cut it. Maybe I won't. Because it can look good if it's long, but I don't want me to talk too much about my hair. I don't think anyone here in the watching this is here to listen to me talk about my hairstyle. The Clarity Act governs a province's path to succession and came into effect after Quebec's attempted succession in the 90s. It outlines what First Nations options / rights are and what they are not. The Clarity Act. Okay, maybe I'll pull that up on ChatGPT or Wikipedia or something just to see. Sounds pretty cool. Thanks for volunteering at Harley Man. The only land the native have in Alberta is the reserves, which consists of less than 2% of Alberta. I also think too, like if all these places, like the nations, are independent nations within Canada, what difference does it make if Alberta is independent or not? If you're your own independent nation, what's the difference? Whether you're Alberta or Canada, like, isn't that the whole like legal framework of this, that these are independent nations within Canada? Again, I'm not saying this as a cop-out. I'm not a legal expert. I still have to sign the Alberta Independence Petition, D2C.
The province of Alberta, Canada, has officially entered a process that could lead to its secession from the Canadian Confederation. The Alberta Elections Commission has formally approved...
This video might just be totally created with AI. Isn't that incredible? I don't know. What do you think?
Initiative that allows independent supporters to begin the process of a referendum. This is the Brexit moment for North America, but with far higher stakes for the energy market.
I bet you this is AI.
To understand why this is happening and why it is happening now, we have to look at the raw data and the recent legal victory that made this possible. For years...
Yeah, I'm going to call AI. This looks good, but very sloppy.
A group known as the Alberta Prosperity Project has been pushing for what they call political freedom. Earlier this year, their attempts were blocked. A court ruled...
See, I don't even know if that... Look, yeah, I think this is definitely AI. Look at this. Lorem ipsum. This is just like boilerplate text.
Here, their attempts were blocked. A court ruled that the wording of their proposed
too
referendum
sloppy.
question was unconstitutional. In many countries, that would have been the end of the road. The movement would have died in the courtroom. But the provincial government in Alberta did something interesting. They amended the rules regarding citizen-initiated referendums.
Yeah, we've talked about this, so that way less people need to sign the signature. The crazy thing is, I think they're going to get 600,000 for sure, actually. It's money and free reign. It was happening in the 70s and the 80s. They made them put IUDs in. Holy. That's dark stuff. I'm not against joining the U.S., but that should be plan B. The U.S. will not have Trump forever. Maybe when Trump is out of office, a left-wing nut will become... Yeah, totally. I, by the way, think the next Democrat leader, like that will win the primary, I think it'll be AOC, Ocasio-Cortez. I don't think it'll be Newsom. That's just my take. I'm not saying that will happen, but I think the Democrats are going to try to run a socialist next time. But you know, hopefully the Republican wins, in my opinion. Hopefully like a J.D. Vance or something. I mean, we natives are not trying to be obtuse about the anthem. About it. The anthem literally says the Canadian population is in service to the treaties. And realistically, it depends on who the primary signatory. Okay, thank you for chatting, Zachary. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your input there. Thanks for that take. I really don't think they will join America because they want to be themselves. Alberta, yeah. It's the same AI voice they use in all the safety training videos for construction. It probably is, yeah. Hopefully we get a little nugget of interesting information in here at least or something. Cool mill, LOL. If Carney, hello War, thank you for watching, thank you for chatting. If Carney continues to sell out to China, as more people wake up, I see more provinces wanting to leave as well. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. I think Alberta certainly has the strongest case and the most, probably the most like upset citizens and probably the best. Like, I don't understand why Quebec ever wants to leave. They get a lot of benefit from Canada. I think they just want to be able to say we're our own country. It seems to come down to they want to like fully embrace Quebec as a thing. So that's like their driving force. Zach, come on. The Canadian government emptied the treaty's coffers when they built the Trans-Canada Railroad. Oh yeah, they're $5 million. I say 1M. Alberta, I think about Alberta. The treaties were a deal between the Crown and the Aboriginals to share the profits of everything the Crown took from this land. The money was held in trust, and the government stole it to build the railroad. The money wasn't held in. Some Canadian history being dropped in the chat. Shout out. Circa gone. Canada, or Carney getting in bed with China is insane. Vanity in Quebec.
They changed the playing field. This allowed the organizers to rephrase the question and reapply. And this time, the Elections Commission said yes. By early January, the Alberta Prosperity Project is required to appoint a financial officer to oversee the campaign funds. Once that administrative box is checked, the clock starts running. Organizers will have exactly 4 months to gather signatures from the public. The target number is 178,000. They need 178,000 verified signatures from Alberta residents. If they reach that threshold, it triggers a legal mechanism that forces the province to confront the question. And the question on the petition is blunt. It asks, do you agree that the province of Alberta should cease to be part of Canada and become an independent country?
Okay,
there is no ambiguity.
Country. It is explicit in that question. It's not saying explore our options, or like if you took this part out of it, these last 5 words, you could say, okay, does that mean we want to be 51st state, or do we want to be something else, but they're explicitly saying, and to become an independent country. Again, this is probably an AI slop video, so probably take everything in this video with a grain of salt.
To be part of Canada and become an independent country. There is no ambiguity there. Cease to be part of Canada. Now, you might be asking, why would a stable province in a G7 country want to leave?
That'll be interesting. We'll see what it says. When your people, Zachary, when your people live in desperate poverty and terrible conditions, why would you not want to try to make a new deal with Alberta? I don't see how it gets any better for you guys. And then Zachary says, I don't think he's replying though to that comment because it came in right after. Nah, the treaties are international laws due to the nature of negotiations between the UK and Canada. The money does not come from a treasury. It's derived land projects. Because my res is working on these. Yeah, anyway, some interesting dialogue. I like it in the chat. This is good. Good stuff. Republic of Alberta. By the look on Scott Moo's face, yeah, was priceless when the clown said New World Order. Sask will leave as well, no doubt. That is a great... I've played this before, but let's just for fun. Let's all have a laugh. Let's watch that. Because that is... This was a great moment. The New World. Carney said it too like a Bond villain. He just, the New World Order.
As you mentioned, mine is the first visit of a Canadian Prime Minister to China in nearly a decade.
By the way, this has been a fun chat. Thanks everyone for chatting. This has been a fun stream for me.
The world has changed much since that last visit. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the New World Order. It's a partnership with new focus and greater depth and a sense of purpose. And I look forward to realizing its promise.
I think I've seen this like 4 or 5 times already, but that's still funny. Mo?
That last visit. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the New World Order. It's a partnership with new focus.
The funniest part about this, I think, is they're in like a very important meeting here. They're meeting with China, the second most powerful country in the world, and like this is just not a poker face at all. It's so blatant. It's not like a meltdown. I'm not calling it that, but he just definitely, I think, clearly was not expecting that and is genuinely having a surprised expression.
For the New World Order. It's a partnership with new focus and greater depth and a sense of purpose. And I look forward to realizing its promise and building on it in the years to come. A partnership that leverages our strengths to create greater stability,
When American observe
security.
I would like to know what was going through Scott Moe's head there. Did anyone? I don't think anyone asked him about that. I'd like to hear a reporter ask, like, what were you thinking there? What was that look? What happened? I don't believe that has been asked of him yet. I'll get to the chats in a sec. I'll just play a little bit more of this.
7 country want to leave. To an American observer,
Actually, I'll get to the chats now because this is going to probably dive into a different topic. It's a good question, actually, even though it's just probably AI. Moose chart. Alberta wants independence. Did I read that one? We definitely want a good relationship with the U.S., but an independent Alberta is the goal because the best government is a small government. Good point. Good point. Carney Brookfield values. It's the money Carney is screwing us. If you want to learn about how the railroad was funded, you have to research Johnny MacDonald. He should still be on the $10 bill. Yeah, I do not. The movement to muck up Canadian history, again, has been a total joke and so divisive. And for what? Again, Trudeau put us in such a bad position. Trudeau was such a bad leader in so many ways. His insane virtue signaling, all the pandering, all the divisive statements that pit one group against one another. He put us in such a terrible spot. Alberta wants independence. Moose chart. He practiced saying the stupid line for hours, staring at a mirror. Maybe. That's funny. The look on Mo's face said a lot. Waiting for the Simpson to do this line with Mr. Burns. Yeah. That would be funny. Mo has to check his pants. Sheer panic. Mountain Woman woman won. Geez. Sorry. Had like a... Couldn't talk there for a second. Thank you for chatting. Thank you for watching. FN population in severe decline. In 2017, there were 5% of the Canadian population. Now they're just under 4. Holy crap. Really? It changed that much? That would be probably all the immigration, right? And by 2040, the Liberals project the number will be close to 2. Holy crap. Yeah, aren't there more Indian people now in Canada than Indigenous? Oh, can you see that? What is the Indigenous population of Canada as a percentage? This group represented about 5 and 21. Yeah, but did it though? Because it probably increased because a few more people just said they were, like, I think more people just self-polled, like the canvassers or whoever the hell asks. But still, 5 is not. I'll take what you said, Mountain Woman. I think you're probably correct. You said First Nations, I guess, because Indigenous has a different definition. What about FN population? $2.9. And then obviously maybe Métis about 0.2 or 1.7 rather. Inuit 0.2. Yeah, total Indigenous 5. But 1.7 Métis, 2.9 First Nations. I think there's a higher share of Indian Canadians. Yeah, there is. 5.1. That's pretty fascinating. What is the share? I don't even know how to ask this question. Of visible minorities in Canada, but exclude Indigenous people. So basically, like, what's the share in Canada of every Asian person, every person of color, basically, but not Indigenous. Like the Indigenous people of Canada are definitely outnumbered by non-white people. 23% of Canada's population are visible minorities, excluding Indigenous. So I guess that means... What percentage of Canada is white? Maybe 70 something? 69.8%. That's incredible. And that I think the projection is that's going to go like down for sure, I would say. To eventually I think they'll get to 50. You know what's interesting? I just always find this stat fascinating. What percentage of I won't do like a guess, but what percentage of Argentina do you think is white? Because it might shock you unless you're already aware of this. I thought it was even higher than this. About 85 to nearly 90% of Argentina's population is typically classified as white or predominantly European descent. I thought it was even higher. Yeah, this is the number I'd heard of before. 97%, but these are generally dated. Okay. But still, it's pretty incredible. Argentina is way whiter than Canada. But we'll get back to this here. By 2050, FN will have no bargaining power, sad but true. Wake up, do not allow Canadians to be represented by the United Nations. I mean, there is an interesting kind of thing happening with all the different groups fighting for power. Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on that, but I just, it'll be such a rant. They won't, it's MSM. YouTube has started adding the tags, info tags for, that's not even, they started that. They always do that, Alberta, Cora, from what I know. Like I did a video on New World Order, just not even on New World Order, just of Carney saying it. And yeah, it had that tag. And same with climate change. I've done videos in the past where I talk about the stupid climate change agenda. And yeah, they get like a warning, or not even a warning. I think there's links to a Wikipedia article or something, but I don't care about that. It was part of the plan, but it is dumb. Like it shows that there's obviously a bias about, like, I wonder if a leftist railed about, oh, the white supremacist Republicans, or like said something stupid like that. I don't know if Wikipedia would have an article to be like, well, you know, they're actually not white supremacists. So I feel like it's still probably a little biased. For sure. It was part of the plan. Yep, by far. More East Indians in Canada than lots of different ethnicities. More people applied for treaty cards. I didn't know that, Donovan. Hello, Donovan. Thank you for watching. Their micro-minority Indians are becoming the majority. There are more new Canadians than First Nations now since 15. Yeah, that mountain woman, that'd be true. That's incredible. The amount of people. I don't view that from like the First Nations lens. I just view that from the lens of Canadians. Like, what are we doing? Why did we do that? Like all Canadians, I mean. The Canadian government has never been kind to FN. They tried to wipe out the Métis and still don't have clean drinking water for them. Any Canadian wanting to be a part of the U.S., out of their tiny mind and beggar's belief. Sore Alba. I don't even know what that Sore Alba means, but Super Gomez, thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting. There's no way they're only 5.1%. I'm not going to say that because it's YouTube in CA. Sign, Albertans, AJ Langer. AJ, thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting. Look up the book, The Culling of Man and the Birth of the New World Order. Someone else in the chat, I think, told me about that. I think like 2 or 3 days ago. I've heard of that book, but hey, we'll go back to this video for now. Why would a stable province in a G7 country want to leave Canada?
Country want to leave. To an American observer, Canada seems polite, quiet, and unified. But beneath the surface, there is a deep, century-old fracture. Alberta is the economic engine of Canada, yet it often feels treated like a colony by the federal government in Ottawa. Alberta is home to over 4 million people. Its capital, Edmonton, and its corporate hub, Calgary, are modern, wealthy cities built on the back of the energy sector. And when we say energy, we are talking about global-scale numbers.
I lived in one of these buildings, but I can't see it right now. I think the building I lived in is not in this picture, actually. Unless there's the camera. I don't think it is. I think the building I lived in is like somewhere over here. I think this picture is just a little old.
Alberta holds an estimated 95 to 97% of Canada's proven oil reserves. It has the third largest oil reserves in the world, trailing only Venezuela and Saudi Arabia. For decades.
That's incredible. I'm going to play that one more time. This is a good like AI slop video. Again, I'm not 100% sure this is AI, but I mean, if it is, see like this center 15, I could see this from my window. My view of whatever Calgary included that center 15 thing.
Of the energy sector. And when we say energy, we are talking about global scale numbers.
No, I think it just cuts off. I think the building, it's to the right. I think whatever, I don't know. Maybe this is just an old picture too.
Alberta holds an estimated 95 to 97% of Canada's proven oil reserves.
Man, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was that. I thought it was like 80. Because Saskatchewan has a little, but 96 is incredible. I would have guessed like 80.
Of Canada's proven oil reserves. It has the third largest oil reserves in the world, trailing only...
Zachary, I hear you, but the residential school is only closed in 96. I'm older than that. Took 30 years for this much admission from the media. And crazy enough, people think it's old news. Man, I hear you, but we've got, like, the country is being pulled apart from mistakes of the past. Major wave of schools. Major wave closures, 1960s to 70s. Gordon Indian Residential School in Punakee, Sask closed in 96. Oh, cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I didn't know that. Cool. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know it was 96. But man, the country keeps being pulled apart, man. And it's from stuff that like happened in generations past. And this problem is not just with Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people or whatever. It's the country's being pulled apart in a bunch of other directions as well. Like Trudeau apologizing for, I think there was an apology, maybe I'll pull them up, but about like the way gay people in the military were treated. Like there's just so many things that, yeah, you can sit around and feel shitty about them and you can still acknowledge them, I think, once a year or whatever, but I think the morale of Canada is awful right now. And there's so much focus on all the different ways we're different, all the ways we're different, all the things that bring us apart, all the injustices of the past. Like, I personally do not want to keep living my life focusing on that. My entire adult life in Canada has been, let's divide everybody. Let's look at all the ways we're all different. I think it's stupid. And it's leading to a bunch of problems like the Alberta independence thing. If things were going well in Canada, you would want, I think, the country to get along. And obviously there's a ton of resentment in Alberta, and enough so that a lot of people just want to leave Canada.
Venezuela and Saudi Arabia. For decades, the wealth generated from this oil has been siphoned off to Ottawa to pay for social programs in other parts of the country, specifically Quebec and the Atlantic provinces, through a system called equalization payments. Albertans have calculated that they had contributed hundreds of billions of dollars more to Canada than they have received back in services. They see themselves...
That is so true. I'll get to some of these chats too. I'll just get the video playing a little bit longer.
Provinces through a system called equalization payments.
It's actually a good video.
Albertans have calculated that they had contributed hundreds of billions of dollars more to Canada than they have received back in services. They see themselves...
That's what 600 billion, I can't remember who said it in the chat, said earlier.
...as the ATM of the nation. But the frustration isn't just about money, it's about policy. The federal government in Ottawa has spent years passing legislation that Albertans view was hostile to their very existence. From carbon taxes to bills that make it almost impossible to build new pipelines, the perception in the West is that Ottawa wants to shut down the oil and gas industry entirely.
And this video is actually spitting. Maybe it's not AI, because that is actually a good point.
This is where the United States enters the picture. Alberta borders Montana. Culturally, an Albertan has much more in common with a resident of Montana, Wyoming, or Texas than they do with someone from Toronto or Montreal. They value...
Look, I agree with that. That might, by the way, be somewhat of a hot take, although I think it's the correct take. Culturally, people from Alberta are way more like they are like Montanans. How do you think you would say that? People from Montana?
Alberta borders Montana.
Montana, by the way, is beautiful. Maybe 18 months ago, last summer, like 2024, I went down to Whitefish. Montana's amazing.
An Albertan has much more in common with a resident of Montana, Wyoming, or Texas than they do with someone from Toronto or Montreal. They value independence, property rights, and the energy industry. If Alberta were to leave Canada, it would instantly become one of the wealthiest nations on Earth per capita, but it would also be a landlocked nation.
Yeah, maybe that's what the person in the chat was referring to. Per capita, yes. So then, I don't know what it would rank as. Whoops. Hold on a sec. Check that out. My mouse is giving me problems here. Alberta was its own country. Where would it rank globally in total GDP? GDP per capita. Let's see. Because per capita, maybe it would be, I mean, it would be up there. Yeah, total GDP, the 30 to 35th largest. GDP per capita, the 10th to 20th largest. That's what I kind of would have guessed. Pretty good. Pretty good. It's pretty impressive that it would be 30 to 35th. Like, I mean, it wouldn't be, that's not nothing. That's not a nation with no power at all. Obviously not even close to like a real player on the global stage, but it's not nothing.
Surrounded by Canada to the east.
Yeah, I'll play the video a little longer, then I'll get to some of the chats.
Nations on Earth per capita, but it would also be a landlocked nation, surrounded by Canada to the east, west, and north, and the United States to the south. This geography dictates that an independent Alberta would essentially become a strategic satellite of the United States. Without access to the Canadian coast to export their oil to Asia, Alberta would be 100% dependent on pipelines running south into the U.S. There is even a growing
Yeah, but not 100%. That's not true. Because Alberta, just because Alberta is an independent country doesn't mean it has no leverage with negotiating with like the Canada, British Columbia, stuff like that. That relationship won't just go away forever. I'll get to some of these chats here. Watch the movie Children of Men. They plan the mass migration to replace the West. Is it a movie or a documentary? It sounds cool. Climate change is the oldest scam in the book. If you give the preacher money or gold, you'll make the weather better for your crops. It's as old as prostitution. It's crazy people still fall for it. Give preacher money or gold. Yeah, I mean, the climate change stuff is absurd. I've talked about that a lot on my other YouTube channels too. But Canada has gone way far down the rabbit hole on being obsessed about that. It's very brutal. It's only good, I think, if you're an environmental consultant. And the other thing, if you want to work in climate change, go work at Tesla or go work at a company like that. I hate that you can just go into government and then tell people how to live their lives because of climate change. All of Canada's watching Alberta. This conversation is at every Canadian kitchen table. History is being made. Interesting. Interesting. I think there's a little, I think it will, and there's another level, I think, of this. When it becomes real, if there's a referendum, which it looks like there's definitely going to be, I think there's going to be, then I think there's another level, because you'll see the resistance start to come. I think you'll see a lot of the media or whatever start to shame with slurs the people that want to leave Alberta. Governments come and go, people die, ideas change, Canada's forever. Thousands died in WW2 for us. Alberta, Mike O'Keefe off the top rope here. Alberta is the Karen of Canada. So Mike O'Keefe, yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting. It sounds like you're more of a liberal guy, NDP guy maybe, or just maybe conservative, just wants Alberta to stay. Very interesting. But I bet you people in the chat do not agree. And I don't agree, to be honest. Zachary, read the treaties. Education was requested, and so was farming equipment. Native parents wanted their children to learn how to read and write and grow their own food. Sour Alba means free Scotland, mate. Oh, cool. You from Scotland? Super Gomez? That is very cool. I met a bunch of people from the UK. I know it's not... hold on a second. I just look like a total idiot right here. I guess it is. Okay, whatever. I'm an idiot. Northern Ireland's not a part of the UK, right? But Northern Ireland is, I think. I met a bunch of guys from UK when I was in Bali recently, relatively recently. A lot of good dudes over there. They all said that UK is struggling. They all did not like it. Man, I'm actually pretty behind on chats. Shout out to the chatters. I might have to skip some just because I'm actually kind of behind on some of these. Which is good. It's a good problem. It's been a fun stream. I'll just kind of skim some of these so I get to all of them. Check Carney book, plutocrats. Plenty of oil in the rest of Canada. There just has never been exploration because they take from Alberta. Yeah, is that... I know there's other minerals like in Quebec they don't want to go at, but other stuff. The Carney, start getting the picture. I know, Rep, I have photos of the treaty agreement. 96, the last day school closed. Wasn't a boarding school. Every other community in the country also has day schools. The difference is the provinces administer them. Anyway, I'll play the video for a bit. I'll probably get back to those chats, but yeah.
Subset of the movement that suggests an independent Alberta shouldn't remain independent for long, but should instead petition to become the 51st state of the USA. While that sounds extreme, consider the economics. The integration is already there. The pipelines are already there. The culture is already there. But before we get to the 51st state, let's look at the hurdles in the next 4 months. Gathering 178,000 signatures is a logistical heavy lift. Alberta is a vast place, roughly the size of Texas. The organizers have to mobilize a massive ground game in the dead of winter. However, the anger in the province is at an all-time high. The cost of living crisis, combined with federal policies that are seen as strangling the economy, has created a powder keg. If they get the signatures, what happens next? It triggers a constitutional crisis. Canada is not like the United States. Its constitution is very difficult to amend. However, the Supreme Court of Canada has ruled in the past, specifically regarding...
What did this thing just say?
...has created a powder keg. If they get the signatures, what happens next? It triggers a constitutional crisis. Canada is not like the United States. Its constitution is very difficult to amend.
I think the U.S. Constitution is pretty difficult to amend as well. I guess ours is harder, apparently.
However, the Supreme Court of Canada has ruled in the past, specifically regarding Quebec, that if a province votes clearly for independence, the federal government has a legal obligation to negotiate. They cannot just say no. But for the average American investor or observer, the key takeaway is the oil. Canada provides more oil to the United States than any other country. We import more oil from Canada than we do from all OPEC countries combined.
Wow. This is a cool video, actually. Alberta, and this guy, I think he's coming from this from an American perspective. I didn't even get that until this last little bit. Albertans are excited for FN to start investing in their futures. Ottawa has been horrible. Republic of Alberta, shout out to you. Thanks for chatting. I think that's your first chat of the day that I've seen. Negotiation with British Columbia would be quite simple. You only have 3 days worth of fuel in reserve without our pipeline giving them more if they didn't want to build a pipeline for us. Yeah, interesting. Zachary, natives will finally own their land when Alberta becomes independent and also receive substantial energy dividends. No more subsistence checks from Ottawa to keep FN in poverty. Jordan English, thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting. O'Keefe, the Karen of the comments. It will grow when the federal government gets off Alberta's back. Exactly, we are not the same as the East, and we do not share a common worldview. We were not settled east to west like they like to claim. I got to find out a better system for reading chats because the font on my current setup's a little small. That's kind of why sometimes I'm like battling, but fine. Any of these chats kind of spicy. Half the pioneers who settled in Alberta came up in covered wagons from the U.S.
Almost all of that comes from Alberta. If Alberta separates, the energy security of the North American continent changes. An independent Alberta would likely be far more aggressive in building infrastructure to get its product to market. They would likely push harder for cross-border pipelines that have been stalled or canceled by the Biden and Trudeau administrations in the past. An independent Alberta would effectively be an unchained energy superpower sitting right on our doorstep, desperate for a partner. There is also the domino effect to consider. Alberta is the leader of a region known as the Prairies. If Alberta goes, what happens to Saskatchewan and Manitoba? These provinces share similar grievances. We could be looking at the complete unraveling of the Canadian Federation. Without Alberta's oil wealth, the Canadian dollar, the loonie, would likely crash. Canada's balance of trade.
Yeah, Donovan, someone else said that too. Like if I change my name, but they'll probably stay at Air Canada for now anyway. For the simple fact that like if you're just seeing that name, it'll appeal to people from all of Canada, but it's pretty funny. Eric Alberta would be not bad as well. Keith Wilson is a great speaker. Starmer has a wife. APP had 230,000 names ready to sign before they were allowed to collect. Really? Wow. Not wise for any province to become part of USA. Taking on the burdens or giving. I mean, realistically, the poverty line is having less than 40K in assets. Most Canadians are not above that line. I've lived in. Poverty line's at 40K. I mean, if making 40K in a city, yeah, you're probably at like because it'd be tough to make it go in like a major city in Canada with very expensive rent. Albertans are excited for FN to start. I just read that one. 360 years of FN agreeing with England's puppet government, and one would think maybe it's time this generation wakes up. That's a good point. PM Smith warned Carney 8 months ago there would be a national unity crisis. He ignored her and wouldn't have anything to do with the pipeline. Carney always says, who cares? Yeah, I wonder if this Alberta independence movement will be like a motivator for Carney and for the government to actually build that pipeline. It should be. If you want Alberta to stay, to be like, hey, look, we built the pipeline. We actually can do things. Maybe that would be the government's point of view.
Trade would implode. The federal government in Ottawa would lose its primary source of transfer payments. The rest of Canada would face an immediate and severe standard of living shock. This is why Ottawa will fight this tooth and nail. They cannot afford to let Alberta go. But the organizers of the Alberta Prosperity Project know that.
That's what I mean, how I think there will be a defense ran here by the media. I think that they're going to pull out the slurs probably. Like remember during COVID, all the slurs there were about the people that were anti-vax, the truckers, stuff like that. That's going to come, I think. It has to, right? I don't think the media class, the elite class, whatever you want to call it, they're not going to sit around here forever and let this kind of Alberta independence movement just go through without any resistance.
They know they hold the leverage. They know that even the threat of separation is a powerful weapon. Alberta joined Canada in 1905. It was a different world back then. The global economy didn't run on oil. Now, 120 years later, the marriage is on the rocks. The papers are being drawn up, the lawyers are being hired, and the people are being asked to sign on the dotted line. A destabilized Canada impacts the U.S. economy, border security, and trade.
Drill, baby, drill. I like that saying, though. I like drill, baby, drill. I'm pro drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill.
But a newly independent, pro-American, oil-rich republic to the north, that presents a very different set of opportunities and challenges.
Alberta doesn't need another pipeline. That was a good video, actually.
While the Prime Minister stands...
Alberta does not need another pipeline. Keystone XL is new and sits empty. Ottawa won't let Alberta connect. I don't believe Albertans want our resource money going to the rest of Canada. I think that's true. If we have to send the revenue to Ottawa, let it stay in the ground. You already see that kind of rhetoric online with anyone that is against Alberta separation. First thing they do is call you a convoy supporter. Yeah. As a trucker, I'm all in. I agree, Jordan, but I think it's not even close to how big it'll get. Like, I don't even really think the resistance has really done anything yet. The other thing about it, like, I think that the resistance probably isn't going to be, though, as in numbers as powerful. Like, I think a lot of Canadians kind of get it now, at least more than before. I mean, Carney won, the Liberals won again, so maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't know. I'm kind of like recalibrating my thought as I say it. Maybe I'll say this. There's more people this time that won't care about the slurs. I think the pro-Alberta independence crowd will have a thicker skin, and they'll just be ready for all the media sort of barrage of insults. I don't think it'll be that much of a problem this time. It'll be a challenge, but I don't know. We'll see. The other thing is, I've said this before, there's no large left-wing independent creators really on the internet. I find that very fascinating who are Canadian. Like, there's almost none. All the big right-wing, all the big YouTube channels in Canada, with some exceptions, are left-wing. The big right one, Charlie Angus, the former MP, is one exception. He's pretty large and he's right or left-wing. There's like people like Laura Babcock, but her channel's not even that big. Rachel Gilmore, but her channel's not even that big. Like, this is probably the biggest guy. And he has that connection to that Midas Touch network in America. Well, aside from Charlie Angus, I don't even know. And then obviously the CBC is left. Like, the mainstream media is definitely left in Canada. Maybe I'll play one more video, but I think I'm getting kind of tired. Maybe I'll play one more video and then shut the stream down for the day. If anyone has any recommendations of a video, I would play it. There was one I was going to play from before, but its
previous identity.
How often have you seen that, Ian, repainting a vessel?
Nah, it's not about independence. Yeah. So earlier in the stream, I reacted to this video from Benny Johnson, a huge, actually, American YouTube channel, 342,000 views. That's kind of cool. That's getting pumped out to Americans. But I think we've almost ran out of videos, at least from the mainstream networks. On this Edmonton, Alberta independence petition signing fact check.
We've all seen.
Today's been absolutely fantastic. It was actually kind of...
Yeah, I'll finish on this video and then I'll end the stream because I am getting pretty tired. But maybe I'll go live later. But again, if you haven't liked and subscribed, definitely subscribe because I'm trying to get to 1K. After I hit 1K, I won't really ask. I still will a little bit, but not too much. But just as a new YouTube channel, it's a big benefit to get to 1K. And after 1K, it matters way less. Then the game is just quality content. So you get lots of views, and then you get like pumped in the algorithm. But the beginning of YouTube, before you're at 1K, is kind of the slog fest. And then, I mean, maybe it always kind of is until you kind of catch fire and find an audience. But yeah, getting to 1K is definitely a major boost for a new channel. Yeah, I agree, Caleb. Can take the clown 2 years before I leave. Like, there's way too much talk about the pipeline, not enough action. Carney's net zero policy will bankrupt every major industry in Alberta. We have to leave. Yeah, the net zero stuff is cringe. Cringe AF. Alberta's forced to ship 5-6 mil barrels by rail. It's so dumb. You're right. Action's basically domestic terrorism. He's holding a state entity hostage. Zachary, are you? I don't know what you're talking about there. It's probably just from something we were talking about before, but I don't know who you were referring to with the domestic terrorism. Yeah, Jordan, totally. Yeah, D2C, I hear you. We subbed and thumbs up. Thank you, Mountain Woman. Chad's very respectful, and the conversation has the variety that allows everyone to consider things they may not have known. Well done, Eric. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I want everyone to feel free chatting. Whatever your take is. And if you want to troll, I'm actually fine with being trolled, but then I will troll you back. And eventually I'll open up like phone lines basically, but just a link so someone can call in and we can talk. I definitely want to do that. I just haven't set that up yet, but I definitely intend to do that, which will be fun. But I want to be clear, like, yes, I want people that are left wing, center, whatever, to feel free talking, but that definitely applies to right as well, because I think for a long time in Canada, the right wing has felt like they can't talk. Although I think the last maybe year, it's shifted quite a bit. At least people that are right wing in Canada, I would say, feel comfortable speaking now. That's true now, I think. If you're still not comfortable speaking and you're right wing in Canada, I think it's just a little bit of like maybe trauma, or you're just kind of a little bit living in 2022, because there's a lot of very vocal right wingers now in Canada, and for a long time that wasn't really the case. Yeah, energy is only 25% of Alberta's GDP. That's cool. Critical Compass Alberta petition signing fact check video. Is that a good video? I'll watch it then, Cora. I'll watch it because it's not that long, I don't think. Because I keep saying this, but streaming for 2.5 hours, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for me. Some people can stream for like 7 hours. Have you seen that? Maybe they're just sitting there watching the video though. But I think that maybe is like a skill, because that's a long time. I mean, Joe Rogan goes like 3 hours in his shows, and he's right there engaged the whole time. That's pretty impressive. The APP. Three minutes. Yeah, we keep our CBP. They will announce the numbers at the end in May. Okay, cool. As more canvassers get authorized, more events will be. Already so many places to sign, and I believe they can come to you if needed. Oh, cool. AJ Lent. Yeah, there's a very good chance this gets over 1 mil, which would be a very strong signal.
Today's been absolutely fantastic. It was actually kind of insane. We arrived here at 8:30 to set up and get things ready, and there was already 100 people here. Like, we were not expecting that. Like, you expect people to come early, but not like hours early. The first guy I signed actually said he came here at 5 o'clock in the morning because he wanted to be first. So we were not expecting that at all, and we were definitely not expecting.
That's funny, 5 a.m. That's like camping out for the new iPhone.
These kind of turnouts and these kind of lines. This has been absolutely awesome, and honestly, I think it's really setting a statement to what Edmonton feels, how Edmonton feels about how we need to move forward towards independence and getting this referendum in. Yeah, if you couldn't make it to today's event, do not worry. Go to stayfreealberta.com, and over there we'll announce all of our petition stuff. Every time we have an official petition site, it'll be listed there, so you never have to wonder or never have to try to go looking. So it's 6 o'clock now, p.m. We were supposed to end at 4, but there were so many people here who've been waiting hours that we went, we got lights, we got things set up so that way we can keep going and staying with people. And the funniest part was there was a food truck that pulled in, and he was the last signature right at 6. So we've had thousands of people come through today. We have no idea how many total signatures we got, but everyone keeps talking about how Edmonton is a city that's locked in with the Liberals, but I think it's very obvious that Edmonton is an Alberta town.
Yeah, I think that's true. I haven't heard that it's locked in with the Liberals. Maybe that is a thing, but yeah, I'm not sure either, Alberta. Or the Critical Compass podcast. So it's these two dudes apparently. Alberta flag. Okay, this will be the final video.
It's
I keep
James here
saying
with the
that,
Critical
but
Compass.
It probably will be the final video. Unless
just-
someone posts something in the chat that's like very interesting on this subject or something, but the Critical Compass, fact check. This is about a 3-minute long video. Marianne, thank you for chatting. Thanks for watching. The numbers are the same as the referendum to stop global equalization payments. That was 62%. Really? There's a referendum on that? Where the hell have I been? When was that? I lived in Alberta, but it was between this. I lived in Alberta like 22 to recently. I wasn't there. Albertans were 61.7% of voters supported removing the equalization principle from the Constitution. Did this even get that much media attention? When Kenny was in office? Like, this was right in the kind of the middle of COVID, but result was symbolic, no legal change. Did happen, majority voted yes, did not legally stop equalization payments. Oof. Jason Kenny area, cool. Honda, thank you for chatting, thanks for watching. The UCP completely ignored that referendum. Yeah, to me, this didn't get very much media hype, or maybe I was just like personally off in another world, like in a different, I don't know. I mean, I've heard of equalization throughout the last 10 years quite a bit, but obviously citizens are concerned. That's why the referendum was initiated by people like me who want better for our kids and grandkids. Canada's a dumpster fire. He replied, yes, the Alberta petition is basically holding the province hostage. The whole point. Yeah, but Zachary, if you use the heated language of this part that really gets me irked, this action is basically domestic terrorism. He's holding a state entity hostage against the interest of the whole, well, according to American laws anyway. I mean, I don't really know, because I don't know where the American laws part comes into play and what you're saying, but I mean, I don't know what I don't actually fully understand the domestic terrorism thing, who you're referring to, but it's obviously fiery language. I think that's going to get people to react, for sure. So I don't know what, I wouldn't use that phrase unless you're like totally sure of what you're saying. But the Alberta petition is basically holding the province hostage. The whole point of the municipals is raise concerns of the public, not assign agendas. Problem with that question? All the province. Alberta, 89 bill in debt, AD. Yeah, true dope. Oh, man. Yeah, that was, I mean, I wouldn't have been around for that, but that equalization thing is so stupid. It just incentivizes too. It incentivizes you to report that you're a have-not province.
Hi, it's James here with the Critical Compass. I just wanted to do a quick fact check on the numbers and the overall size of the Independence Petition event, January 17th, Rundle Park in Edmonton. The event was officially scheduled for 10 to 4 p.m., but there were people lining up as early as 8 in the morning. Due to the size of the lines, it took until 6 p.m. to collect all signatures. Using Google Maps, we can see where the two tables are set up. Table 1 was on the east side, and Table 2 was south of this junction. What I'm calling the junction is the point where both lineups can be seen at once. At the westmost side is the parking lot and the food truck. The lineup went all the way to the food truck. The distance between these 2 points is 350 meters. We also know that Table 2 is about 50 meters from the junction. So at the peak, there's about 400 meters of people lined up. So with even 1 person per meter, that's 400 people in the line. With more than 1 person per meter, that's about 600 people in the line. So with 10 people collecting signatures at 1 minute per signature, that's about 600 per hour. At 2 minutes per signature, that's about 300 per hour. So if you factor the length of the lines and the overall timeline, it's easy to estimate that over 3,000 people attended. Another observation was the traffic and the parking.
But a lot of the news stations I saw said at least 500.
2 p.m., there was a steady stream of cars driving in, as well as cars leaving the parking lot. Since the parking lot was full, I had to hunt for a space. What this shows...
It's funny, it's like he's analyzing a sports game.
is just how enthusiastic people were to sign. This is just the beginning, and it'll be great to see what kind of turnouts we have in the upcoming events. If you still need to sign...
Yeah, it's cool. We'll see what this guy says here.
If you're curious, we did another short recap video.
We already did this, or listened to this video. Yeah, with that said, I'm going to finish the stream, but thank you everyone for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll quickly finish these chats, and then Albertans have broken their backs and send 1.5 trillion. Nothing but abuse. It's not Alberta's fault. Ottawa just wasted and peed it all away. I mean, yeah, I think this sentiment is actually at the fault of like federal politics. I don't know what Albertans are supposed to think. I mean, I technically am one till whatever I switch my. Elections don't even get anywhere near these turnouts. Awesome. Keyword basically meaning municipals to actively pursue. From the petition passing till the actual vote, we will educate. Peace in the middle. Thanks, Eric in chat. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm getting so tired I can't even talk. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Like and subscribe. Have a great day. I will see you in the next stream or video.